All right, this is episode 12.
Hey,
The podcast. Can I borrow your amp?
Welcome back, everybody.
We got improv 2 guests today. Thank you guys for being available.
Yes, sir.
On short notice.
Very short notice.
Yeah.
I was actually really glad to find out that I was doing something other than just going home and sitting there
Crying and
tonight.
masturbating
Yeah.
like usual.
Yeah.
It is Wednesday after all.
Yes.
It is indeed.
You can do all the same things with us here.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Let's do it live on the air.
So we got
We
Dan
should turn this into a
Durant.
video podcast. Oh, hi.
Everyone comes on the podcast is like, why isn't this in a video format? And we're like, yeah. And every
Soon
episode
enough.
we're like,
Because you
yeah,
can't-
we're gonna do it.
Can you post video on Spotify if you're not like
Joe Rogan.
Joe
You
Rogan
can if
or
you're Joe Rogan.
I
yeah.
think
No, I
so.
think he's the only one.
Is he really?
I've never seen any
I
other
haven't-
video.
I haven't seen any
thing
other
on
video.
Spotify.
You just had to use YouTube, I guess.
Yeah. Well,
otherwise-
we're posting these to YouTube, and so we would just do the video format, which would be
Yeah,
great
yeah.
because we could get ad revenue that way.
Yeah,
Definitely.
you guys definitely should.
But yeah, joined by Dan Durant and Swoon, returning. The first
Yes.
returning guest.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Damn, that makes me
In
rethink
12
why-
episodes?
Oh
You
yeah,
guys are doing a good job.
you are our first returning guest. That's true.
That
Yeah.
makes me feel like I shouldn't have come.
No,
I don't want to be
You're
the
here
first.
now.
Why not?
Because I don't want to be
Because
the
you were
first
that
or last
special.
of
They
anything.
loved you that much.
All right,
that they're like, we
JD's
gotta
gonna
have
be
this guy on.
You don't
leaving.
want to be.
I was just kidding. I don't know.
Well, you
It-
guys, what were we talking about before this? You were talking about a story.
Oh yeah, Dan Durant has a story about a colon.
About
he's
gastro-
witnessing a
Oh,
colonoscopy.
yeah,
Colonoscopy.
yeah, because we were talking about Ice Cube getting a colonoscopy. Because from Aziz Ansari's latest comedy special, and I was saying that like I worked at Kaiser for a while. I had like a summer internship there because for a while I didn't know that I was gonna like try to do music. I mean, I always loved music, but I was so unconfident in it that I'm like, you know what, fuck it. I'm gonna I'm gonna go into the medical field, make a lot of money. I like to help people. Like I can just do that.
Win-win.
Yeah, and my parents wouldn't be disappointed in me. And so I started like volunteering at Kaiser when I was in high school. And I had to go through this whole like process of getting in with like interviews and all kinds of shit. I ended up getting the position, and
Let's go.
yeah, but the thing is like they asked you beforehand like which department would you like to be a part of?
Right.
Like, what is your interest? So I remember putting like I think like the emergency room and like same day surgery, because I worked in another hospital before that, and so I kind of like knew the departments. I'm like, those are interesting departments, like cool, like crazy shit happens there.
Same
Right.
day surgery. Damn.
Yeah, that's like something happens, you need to go
you
get
got
emergency
shot or
surgery.
something.
Yeah,
Jeez
exactly.
Jeez Louise. Yeah, it's
And
And you were like, put me in that.
yeah,
Yeah.
I
Crazy
mean, because
shit
it's like if
happens.
I'm gonna be working somewhere
Keep
in
it-
a hospital, and I wanted, because I thought I wanted to be a surgeon. I was like,
really?
what? Yeah,
Wow. I didn't know this.
yeah,
I didn't know this either.
And shit, I didn't know what I was thinking.
And
And
I'm sorry you're sitting here with us.
yeah, it didn't work out. My medical career ended after this experience. So they
This is
Didn't
the
get
thing.
very
This
far.
story.
well, so they had me choose those departments, but then when I got the job, they're like, hey, so like the departments that you chose are actually full, so we ended up just assigning you to one, and we assigned you to gastroenterology.
Hey.
And I'm like, what the
Like,
fuck?
yeah, hell yeah, bro.
And-
I love anal.
I
Yeah.
I didn't even really know what that shit was, to be honest. Like at first, like I was like gastroenterology. I looked into it. I'm like, oh, so it's all like shit. It's
Yeah, hell
like
yeah,
literally like all having to do with like,
Like
shit in your
shit,
colon.
guts, like
And yeah, exactly. So I'm like, that's awesome, dope.
Yeah.
So I end up getting the job, and they have me being an intern, but it's all just like bitch work. Like a
Yeah.
lot of the other, because I'm talking to a lot of the other interns, and they're like, oh, dude, like I saw a dude come in today, and he got shot, and blah blah blah, and
Whoa.
like all this crazy stuff happening, and then
Jeez
me,
Louise.
they just have me in there like folding like pamphlets in like tri-folding pamphlets. So I'm
Yeah.
like just sitting there watching fucking like Netflix.
Yeah.
I'm watching like Parks and Rec or something, like folding pamphlets and putting them in envelopes and fucking like licking them, and
God damn.
just like that, like straight
I
up
hate
bitch
that
work.
shit.
How old were you?
I was 17, I
Seven
think.
years old.
Oh, yeah, that's why.
16, 17.
I mean,
yeah.
what else is a
Like, that makes
17-year-old gonna
sense.
do in like a hospital?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I mean, the whole point
Like,
of
we
the
need you for
lead
surgery.
surgery.
Yeah, they're like, get over here.
Yeah.
Dan, we
Hold down
need
this
you.
man.
Well,
Yeah.
the whole point of it was that you were supposed to see like how the hospital operated and get to see
Right.
procedures,
Yeah.
and they like had this whole thing that they said you were going to do, but for me, they didn't do that shit at all.
Wow.
And yeah, so eventually I end up talking to like the like head of the person running it, and I'm like, hey, like, I've been in this department for a while, but I'm not really doing anything. Like, I thought it'd be a little bit more like involved and hands-on. And
Yeah.
they're like, okay, like I'll talk to your department head and see what we can do. So like a week later, the department head comes in. She's like, hey, like, would you want to sit in for some procedures today? And I'm like, oh yeah, like I would love to.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Awesome. So they're like, okay, cool. We've got 2 procedures that you can sit in on today, and and I'll come get you in like an hour. So I'm like, dope. So I'm like, okay, really excited. I'm like, okay, finally, like something's actually happening. I'm not just doing more bitch work. And so she comes and she grabs me and she's like, okay, so yeah, the 2 procedures that we have going on today is we have a endoscopy and a colonoscopy.
Hell yeah.
Nice.
And I'm like, fuck, like, all
Let's
right.
go.
Like, yeah, I didn't even know what to expect. So the first procedure was the endoscopy.
What's that?
So an
Yeah,
I don't know
endoscopy
what it is.
so a colonoscopy, everybody knows they shove the camera up your
Sort
ass.
of. I actually
Yeah.
have a quick question. What's the difference? What's the main difference, or like the biggest differences between a colonoscopy and a prostate exam?
Colonoscopy, they
Yeah,
use a
checking your
camera.
Colonoscopy,
They
they
go
stick
way
a
up
camera
there.
up
Yeah,
your
they're
ass.
checking your
exam,
bowel.
Prostate is
doctors-
finger.
Yeah, they
so,
feel
so,
around.
So prostate exam is just like light work. A colonoscopy
Yeah.
is
It's
a
just
big deal.
feeling around
Yes.
your prostate.
Okay, okay.
And,
Yes.
Yeah, and
Making sure there's no,
colonoscopy
like,
is all the
lumps
way
or-
in there.
Okay.
yeah.
Into the intestine.
Nice.
So
nice.
an endoscopy is basically a colonoscopy, but from the other end. So they stick a
Oh.
camera down your
Throat.
throat, and they look at your insides from that end.
Wow.
So
Is it what? Do you happen to know like the differences in why you'd get a endoscopy versus a colonoscopy?
just different parts of your,
the upper and lower
tract. Yeah,
area.
exactly.
Yeah,
Some
yeah.
people have issues with just straight up like their stomach, so
Oh,
it's
okay.
a lot quicker to go in through the mouth
Yeah.
than to just get into the stomach from the asshole.
Shortcut, yeah.
So
That's
yeah,
what
so
Wyatt does when he
I
has
so
sex.
this lady,
I take the colonoscopy regardless of where it is.
I'm getting one right now.
they're
I'm
like,
sitting on a
sir, you're at the
colonoscopy right
dentist.
yeah.
Sir,
I go to
we're
the
doing a
dentist
root
and I'm like, hey,
Hey, do you mind
go in the other way.
Yeah.
Hey, do you mind sticking a finger at my ass, bro?
While you do this.
Sir, I'm brushing your teeth.
Yeah, yeah.
Sir, we're doing
Yeah.
a root canal. I'm like,
I have
I'm like
a really
face
bad gag
down on the
reflex.
bed.
That's like, have you guys seen Scrubs, the show Scrubs?
Yeah.
No, but I know of it.
There's like this side character that he's not really a character, but they just talk about him a lot, where he's like a doctor who works there who like, he always just asks people to take their pants off no matter what they
Yeah.
So someone will come and like it'll be a random scene where like someone will be like, oh, like I got like hit in the face and like blah blah, like I think I might have dislocated my jaw, and he's like, all right, get in there and take your pants off. That's his whole thing.
Yeah.
Sorry, anyway.
Oh, it's
continue,
okay.
sorry.
So it's this kind of like middle-aged lady. She's a little bit heftier, and I think that she had like stomach ulcers.
Oh no.
And so they were going in to just kind of check them out. And watching her get this endoscopy was so fucking uncomfortable
Yeah.
because she's so they start like shoving the camera down her throat, and she's like, on the table with
Yeah.
like her
that's
mouth
so
straight up,
She's
like
open
on a-
wide.
on a spike.
probably
Yeah,
freaked
and
out.
oh yeah,
Yeah,
and
Vladimir.
she's like burping over and over, but these really aggressive, like I'm
Oh,
about to throw up,
no.
burps like,
Oh,
and I'm
God.
like, oh my god, like
Who
But-
figured out how to do this?
I don't know,
Yeah.
dude. I don't know, but I was really trying to like keep my composure because first off, they had to ask her like, "Are you cool? Like, we have a student here who wants to like."
Yeah, I was
like,
gonna.
you
That's
know-
what I was gonna mention.
Yeah, so they had to ask her. She was like,
I guess.
"Oh, okay."
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
like
The tube's already.
No
in
one
her
wants a
mouth.
fucking
She's like,
17-year-old.
I know,
like,
right? I know.
And
So
you're like, wait, grandma?
Yeah.
yeah, it's like, all right, well. So I'm watching this lady get this fucking tube shoved down her throat. She's so clear. She's like crying, like
Yeah,
there's tears
yeah.
going down her
Poor thing.
throat.
Yeah.
But it's so trippy because there's like a monitor,
Yeah.
and you can see all of their insides and stuff and all that shit. So that was really uncomfortable to watch. And eventually they, pull the camera back out, and she's regains her composure, and she, whatever they give her, they're like, okay, like, yeah, we'll explain the results and blah, blah, blah. So she leaves, and then like, I think they sent me back to the office for a little bit, and then like 30 minutes later, they come and grab me again. And this time I'm going
They're
in to
like,
watch
you gotta
the
come check this out.
yeah. And this time it's the colonoscopy,
His ass
and
is
I'm
already in
like,
the air.
fuck. So I get in there, and
I
it's,
feel like it would be less uncomfortable, the colonoscopy,
Yeah.
than the endoscopy, because
Oh,
like
yeah, it
going
sounds
down my
like it.
throat is like worse.
yeah,
Oh,
right.
it
I know
sounds
it's
like-
like
Going
you're like
sounds like
watching
just a
like
good time.
that's That's like true powerlessness.
That's
At
where the
least-
G-spot is for the man.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys know
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So
It's in the ass.
I
Getting
shit you not.
full
the-
prostate orgasm.
the patient for this colonoscopy.
You shit us not.
Yeah. He was not shitting at all.
Come on.
He was a he was a 90-year-old Asian man.
Oh no.
And
Yes.
so
90?
90. He was 90 years
Why
old.
are you getting a colonoscopy
Yeah,
at that
I,
point?
I mean,
Like-
yeah, it's right. Just take your fucking
He
lumps,
wants to
bro.
live, bro.
And so I get in there and they ask him the same question. Are you okay with the student watching?
and he's like, honestly,
yeah.
hell yeah.
He's like,
Yeah. He's
I've
like,
never
honestly-
seen somebody not give a fuck that
That
hard
much.
before over something that
And he was
people
like,
would normally
"For
really
free?"
care about.
He's like,
At the end, he tips you. He like leaves you a 20.
gives you a little,
He, like, he,
little
like,
pat on the
thanks
ass.
you on the way out, not the doctor.
Yeah.
I
That's
see you
the
guys got my
hardest
request. And so
Santa is real.
Yeah.
He's like, I asked for a blonde, but
and so they lay him down on the table. He's facing away from me, and his ass is just out, and it's so like wrinkly. It's like the
Yeah.
wrinkliest ass you've ever seen in your
That's gotta
entire.
be crazy. I don't
life.
think I've ever seen a 90-year-old ass.
I,
No,
90
I
years of
have seen
ass.
exactly
I mean,
one, and it was
not
that
off
one.
the internet
Yeah.
anyway.
Yeah. You know
not
what?
even
Actually,
on the internet.
No, not on the
I don't
internet.
know,
Me neither.
I don't
I
even-
could show you a 90-year-old
sometimes
ass
there's
right now,
ads.
bro.
Yeah. And so they grab him and they spread his wrinkly cheeks open and they get the camera and they
And you
just start
saw all of
shove-
that?
I saw all of it. I
Jesus
saw all of it. I'm
Christ,
standing
man.
there watching this happen. It's kind of out of body.
Do they have to lube him up?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Now, do they
lube
like?
him-
How does
They
that
just
work?
Is there-
dry
I
send a
think that they
fucking
lube the
camera in his
camera.
ass.
They probably lube his asshole a little bit. I
Do
don't
you think
remember.
they have him lube the asshole?
Do you think is there any sort of like anesthesia or no? It's just like,
No,
there's
no, they just
fuck
go
no.
in.
You just like
They
there's like
just
bite
go
the
in.
pillow. We're going.
You know, and I'm
Bite
pretty
the
sure that I'm pretty sure that like it's
Bite
like a
the
thing
pillow, I'm
where
gonna
like
pull your
you
hair
can't eat
back.
anything for a certain amount of time too, because they have to go in.
Oh
Like,
Yeah,
my
because
God.
you don't want to
stomach
have. That's probably why that lady wasn't throwing up. Is because she probably had. an
Yeah,
empty
yeah,
stomach.
yeah. And so they shove in the camera, and I'm like watching this dude's insides, and
It's pretty amazing.
yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah.
But there's also this like. It's like a big tube, right?
Mm.
Like that's what your colon is, a big tube of like
Organ
it's like
tissue.
the inside of your mouth.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like
yeah.
that type
Tissue,
of
yeah.
it's
It's
tissue.
wet, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. But there's like shit. There's like little pieces of shit like on the wall and
Oh,
stuff.
no.
And the doctor's looking in and he's talking. He's like, all right, everything looks good. Everything looks good. Oh, I think I see a little something right here. Like we need to check that out. And so he's like writing down notes and
Yeah,
shit.
yeah.
And that dude's just sitting there taking it.
He's like,
Yeah.
oh, it turns out you're 90 years old.
yeah. I
Yeah,
can
why
tell.
are you here?
I'm counting the rings. I'm counting the
done.
rings on your
You
asshole.
did it.
Yeah, the ring.
So, so I have another dumb
He's like, are you
question.
going for triple digits? I don't
Is
know.
there, is there any or like ever any fear that the camera like that they like puncture anything with the camera?
I don't
I feel like it
know.
must be built.
It's probably
It's
just
very
so round.
specifically
It's
with
probably
that in mind.
so rounded. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's lubed up, so it's very like smooth and it's plastic, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if it was plastic. Probably or
don't
probably
they-
some
don't
sort
they,
of
like-
silicone or
Do
something.
they cover
wrought
it with like
iron.
with plastic?
Do they wrap it with plastic?
Yeah, like wrap it with like
I
plastic
can't.
wap.
I
I feel like
don't-
I've
I
seen
don't
that. I don't know, I might be
remember.
wrong. I don't know.
That
That
could be- yeah,
that makes
Dan may be
sense because you
blacked
don't want to
out.
just be touching people's assholes
I've seen-
and then touch another person's
So I
asshole
went
with the
with
asshole.
my girlfriend to the gynecologist once. Sorry, you're not done with your story, but
That's
really quick,
okay.
I'm just gonna say like, and I saw the thing that they were like sticking inside of her,
Yeah.
and they I think they I might be wrong, but I think they did wrap it in plastic, and obviously it was very lubed up. It was,
Yeah.
Anyways,
fucking
go
thing.
stream Andrea Shahayed on Spotify and Apple Music.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
trying not to say.
We can cut that
Everybody
out.
knows.
I'm joking. I'm totally joking.
But I mean, that's more or less the end of the story. He just, they looked around. They didn't like find anything
Yeah,
crazy or
and then he
anything.
wild
But
out.
I really just like I was like, I don't know, like I really wish I was in a different department.
Yeah.
So you were just like, maybe I will give music. a
Music
try.
is-
yeah.
And he's like, and that's when I started.
I mean, honestly, that experience it did kind of contribute.
Did you feel like
to
at the end of that day you were like, yeah, I don't really want to do this?
At the
or-
age-
or
not,
did you?
not necessarily.
No,
it was
I don't want to do this
interesting.
as a whole thing, but like, did you feel like it was a positive experience or negative at the time? Do you
It
remember?
was It was still a positive experience because it was just something that I'd never
Yeah.
experienced before. So I'm
Sure.
like, interesting.
Even
Like,
at the time, you thought that.
yeah.
You
You
made that
know,
old man so happy. It's got to feel good.
That's
man.
right. And you
Yeah,
made 20 extra
yeah.
bucks.
Yeah.
huh?
And you made 20 extra bucks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
Because he tipped
It
you
must
at
have
the
been. It
end.
must have been somewhat interesting to see that happen, right?
It was
I mean, like,
really interesting
yeah.
because it's like, like I said, like it was kind of out of body, you know, like what it's, I'm even thinking about it now, like I'm imagining it like third person almost because it doesn't even,
Right.
it happened
Feels
to
like
me.
another life. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just so
Yeah.
weird. Like,
It's
you
totally
know, I wasn't
understand.
expecting it that day. And
I mean, that's like, I would never have, if you hadn't told me that, that's like, you in that experience, like working at the hospital.
Yeah,
well,
well,
like
yeah.
I've never thought that would be something.
yeah,
in your life.
working at the hospital was crazy because there was a cool
You said it was Kaiser?
Kaiser.
Was it the Woodland
Hills?
Hospital?
Yeah, that's
Oh.
actually the hospital I was born in.
Oh,
too.
shit. I just
Andrea,
drove by
too.
that shit today.
Oh, really? Yeah.
I've been there many times because of Andrea, because she goes there, and she was born there too.
Oh, she was born there too.
She was born there. Yeah.
You guys were
Oh,
born
that
in the
means
same
that Carter,
hospital.
Carter
That's
was
cute.
born there too. Then
What the fuck?
Was he?
right? Weren't they born in the same?
No, they weren't
I
born in
think
the
they're
same
born the same
hospital. They were
day.
born in the same
Oh, I
day,
thought they were
yeah.
born in the same hospital.
Damn, that's
No,
crazy.
no.
That is really.
I don't
I
think so.
always forget that. That's crazy that Andrea and Carter were fucking born on the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, something about that day has like talent in it for some
Yeah.
reason.
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then every other day, it's just,
Just
you know.
fucking.
Yeah, all of
just
us were
a
born on
Yeah.
shitty
shit
days.
out of
Yeah.
luck,
I'm
yeah.
a Scorpio.
You are really.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's
What
the
are
end
the
of the
traits
podcast.
what are the traits of a Scorpio? I don't really know. I haven't met a lot of Scorpios. So.
I truly do not follow astrology.
You can
to
honestly
any
tell me
degree,
anything, and I'll
but
believe
they're
you.
Yeah,
really
yeah,
they have
same.
really
Make
big
something up.
dicks.
Okay.
First off, even
No,
the
they
women.
are.
Okay.
They are really
they are
big
really
dicks.
big dicks. No, I mean, from what I've heard, they're supposed to be very intense.
Yeah.
They're supposed to.
Drake is a Scorpio. I just know that because his album is called Scorpion,
Oh shit!
and he's
Oh.
He's the biggest astrology guy.
Scorpio.
Damn. Well,
Just
I
love.
don't even know.
Scorpios.
Like, I want to clown
He's
him,
just
but
big.
I'm gonna just leave it alone.
Why do you want to clown him?
I don't know. I
You
always,
hate
want to
toward
clown
Drake?
Drake. I don't know
It's
why.
easy.
Please
It's
do.
It's
okay.
easy.
Why are you so
It's
angry
just
at
so
him?
easy to
He's
clown
a-
Drake.
he's a-
respect.
He said he was a
Scorpio brother.
lesbian.
He is
bro.
my Scorpio brother.
Huh?
He said he was a lesbian. It's okay to clown him.
I mean, hey,
Yeah, Ratchet Happy Birthday is the fucking bop.
yeah, that's right.
But yeah, I don't know. I don't really know. Do you guys believe in astrology? Do you know anything?
We were talking about it a little bit last time.
We're talking about Mercury in retrograde. I'm
Yeah.
kind of falling into believing into that a little bit.
I mean, I would totally have reason to believe. Is that happening currently?
I
know.
think we were just in retrograde. I don't know if we still are.
Okay, well, if that is happening currently, then I have a lot of reason to believe why that would be true because there's been a lot of crazy shit happening.
I'll tell you right now.
But either way, I still don't really believe it.
I told Maddie this last time. I don't think I really believe in the Mercury retrograde thing, but
Yeah.
I think that some of the astrology traits do have some merit. I think, like,
By
as
merit-
far as like personalities
Mhm.
and like, I don't know. I don't know if it has anything to do with like what month
It
you were
is.
born.
It's still in retrograde.
Wow.
Oh,
Dang.
I don't know. I just
But-
feel
Till
like
June 2nd.
But
I just
it's
feel
like-
I don't know.
it's explained a lot of things, but maybe it's all coincidence. Who
Interesting.
knows?
Yeah. I don't know. I think I've softened my like my stance on it.
Yeah.
Sort of similar to like how I feel about religion and
Do you
those kinds of
believe in
things.
ghosts?
No,
No?
No.
not really. No.
Okay.
I believe
Like,
in
what do you mean by
ghosts.
ghosts? Like, do you mean
I
like things
think-
that like dead people's
Like
souls?
supernatural forces interfering with our world. I'll say that.
okay.
I'm not
I
gonna say
wouldn't.
not like ghost like a woo.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I don't know if I would say supernatural. I don't know. Like, I guess maybe I believe like in like I don't know, like the universe, that kind of thing. Like that there's like sort of energy. Like, but I feel like
Do you think energy can get trapped?
that seems like the same level of like stuff as like astrology though.
maybe it is like, which is why I'm saying like this is what I guess I mean by when I softened my stance.
Mhm.
And similarly with religion, because like I feel like there was a point where I was very, very atheist in the sense that I was like, no, like none of that shit, like very just like science only and
Mhm.
etc.
Mhm.
And I still am like a very skeptical person in general and like very
Right.
logical, but like I think I've just opened myself up more to the possibility of like, you know, first off, obviously just not knowing, which
Yeah.
is always the case, but like also just, yeah, like energy and like, you know, I feel like there's like ways that you can interact with the world that are better and ways that you can interact that are worse. And there's
Sure.
something there, I feel like. I don't know what I would call it. I don't
Well,
even know if I
yeah.
would call it supernatural or ghosts or God or any of that kind of stuff, but like I don't know. It's
Have
but
you
it's
had
difficult.
experiences that made you change your stance on that?
No, it's mainly been conversations because I have experiences that I think, I've had experiences that have been like crazy, but I feel like the stance that I always had, because I always feel like I mean, I don't want to get too whatever into this, but like,
Yeah.
I always like felt like the thought process that I came upon that I connected with the most after letting go of religion, because I grew up Christian. But after that point, I was sort of just lost for a little while. And then the thing that really made sense to me was existentialism after that. And so, like, that kind of gave me this point of view on things.
Existentialism?
Well, okay, how do I put this simply? Like, essentially, existentialism is so essence is like meaning, and existence is like just sort of the platform. So, like, existence is just like the world, and then essence is like, if you're religious, God is what gives the world its essence.
Okay.
And so religious
Like the
people,
source.
so I say this, I don't know if this is necessarily like technically true, but like I feel like religion, if you were to compare it to existentialism, would be called essentialism, which means the essence precedes the existence. So there's a purpose and then it exists.
Okay.
So like God had the purpose before he created the world.
Right.
With a purpose in mind. Existentialism is the opposite. It's to say existence was first, we just exist, and then we create
the purpose.
the purpose, the essence, the meaning,
Okay.
whatever the thing is.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's essentially like I that's how I understand existentialism anyway at its root form. Obviously, there's a lot that goes into that.
It's really interesting. There's a lot you can read. Was it Thoreau? Was Thoreau a huge?
I've never.
Nietzsche and Sartre are like the two biggest. Like
Right.
Sartre is like he wrote like the Nausea. It was like this. It's like kind of like
they're kind of like nihilists. They're
existentialist.
They're like
Nothing matters.
Kind
they're
of.
like, yeah, they're like
Everything is chaos.
Well, but see, so this is the thing.
At least Nietzsche.
It is and it isn't, but like, yeah, Nietzsche is more like that for sure. Sartre, I think, was a little different, and like, and I'm not super well read in general. Like, I just read some of these things, and I was like, oh, these are things I've been thinking for a long time. Like, this makes sense to me. Wow, like, But a lot of what it is just, and this is kind of connecting back to what we were talking about. A lot of what it is just like, it's not that nothing matters. It's that like you get to decide what matters.
Right.
You know what I mean?
For sure.
Like there's it's interesting. I don't know if you guys have seen that movie, the new movie, Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Yeah.
I really can't wait to see that.
It's
Dude,
fucking
it's
great. It's
so
a really good
good.
movie. But that also, it's a very existentialist movie because the whole movie is about like these like multiple, not dimensions, I guess, but like realities, like timelines, I guess, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And the main character is sort of going through them. And I think the sort of overall question of the film, without spoiling anything, is like once you kind of become privy to how wide the universe is and all these different timelines, and you sort of realize that, there's all these different existences and blah, blah, blah. Like, how does anything matter anymore? Once you're like so tapped into that, how does anything matter? So there's one character that represents like someone who has sort of lost their hope for everything so it's like a nihilistic sort of thing. It's like existentialist in the sense that you're saying it's all chaos, nothing matters, everything's just like a like statistical probability.
It is what it is.
You know what I mean? Like, or inevitability, like everything's just going to happen. Nothing really matters, blah, blah, blah. And so the film is sort of exploring different characters, like reactions to that, like how different people deal with it. And I think it does it in a really nice way. And basically, I think what at the end of the film, what you kind of gather from it is just that, like, there is no like clear answer. Obviously, like everyone's struggling with that. It's an existential crisis. Everybody has those moments where you're like, fuck, man, like, what am I doing? Like, what is life? Like, what is any of this? Like, why does any of it matter? Blah, 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 all that stuff. But you have to just sort of day by day make things mean something for yourself. You know what I mean? Like you get to decide like that's important to me, or that is like whatever. And so anyway, that I feel like there is something to that maybe is even beyond just like, maybe supernatural, quote unquote, or whatever the thing is. You know what I mean? Like I feel like there is something to that is powerful.
Kind of like spirit that's there.
Yeah, exactly. There is like exactly. That's where I find my spirituality. I think a little bit is like in believing like, oh, like when I put my enthusiasm towards something, or like, an energy of mine towards something, it can kind of have a ripple effect and actually like change things and et cetera,
Yeah.
Do you believe in like a source energy?
What do you mean by that?
Like God, I guess, is the
like closest, where it comes from?
It's just like the thing that makes this whole thing like go. you know, or the
no.
thing that the underlying thing, because that's kind of what I define as God for
God, yeah.
myself, is this source, this underlying thing that this whole foundation, like the foundation of our reality, is built on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And is an extension of.
No, I don't think so. I feel like it just. I mean, again, in the existentialist thing, it's like, I think it just happened. Like all of this stuff. Like, and so actually, this is actually what I was going to try to say. You actually kind of reminded me exactly what I was going to say, which is that I've always felt like, because you were asking if anything's ever happened to me to change my stance. When crazy things happen to me, it just like the idea of it being a beautiful coincidence is like where I always go, where I'm like, wow, like that's fucking insane. And instead of thinking like something had to have like made that happen, I'm like, wow, like I almost like always
How
have
lucky
imagined.
am I to get to experience?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Or like I imagine like the universe or like the world or like life playing out as like a bunch of like billiard balls like just bouncing around, and like you know, or you break and it's like 1 in a million times or whatever the thing is, you might break and every ball will go into a hole. And it's like someone will see that happen and be like, there's no other explanation for that but God.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But like but like I see that and I'm like, wow, we just happen to have been the 1 in a billion that happened or whatever. Because the reason why that makes sense to me, I would say, is because what are the chances that we're alive anyway? You know what I mean? Like there is like a 1 in a God.
There is
knows,
a 1 in a million chance.
Yeah, or fucking 1 in a billion or what trillion or whatever.
See,
the thing
from
is.
my point of view, there's a 100% chance that happens, though.
Right,
you know,
right.
because it's like if something happens, then it was. I mean, I don't know. I use the word destiny very lightly, but it seems like I agreed with the idea that it is just one thing after another, and it's all this cause and effect thing. But if there's already if that's the case, then there is a plan. Well, not a plan.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yes,
like
but
dominoes. Once the dominoes are falling over,
that's the ultimate argument between like I mean that even like atheists and people of theology argue is that there's a design. Like, that if there's a design of like everything in the universe and on Earth, then there must be a designer.
I just feel like you can legitimately have a relationship with that thing, and there's a like a push and a pull that comes along with it.
Yeah.
You know, it's really fucking weird. I compare it to like Deadpool, you know, where I'm like, I know that I'm this like this.
Yeah, like you're
thing.
aware of the movie you're in, so to speak.
Yeah, you know, like I'm a product of causality. I'm a product of everything that's happened before me. But I feel like I'm making decisions, but my decisions are all based on things that have happened to me. So I can only make this.
This is the eternal.
Do you feel like somebody is controlling you, Dan?
I don't feel like somebody's controlling me. I feel like there is just an inevitability in the things that will happen, and we can learn to either accept them or we can ignore it and believe that we are in complete control.
Wouldn't your acceptance or non-acceptance of it also be a part of that?
That's why I feel like Deadpool, bro.
Well, but what I'm saying is like, you're saying we can choose to accept or not accept it, but you can't
choose.
Then, right?
Choose. I use I use that word very lightly.
To accept it or not to.
Yeah, and this is an ever-changing thing because I've gone through different phases. There was a point where I was very atheist too, and I was just like in the same exact boat where it's like randomness. It's like sick, like cool that I'm fucking here. That's crazy, but you know, whatever. But since I started really paying attention and I've read, there's been several books that have really influenced my thinking.
Yeah, books will change your mind.
Yeah,
for sure,
100%. And they always,
which is a funny thing to say, like now, because it's like that seems like such an obvious thing that everyone, but like we're in a generation where it's like, no, guys, really, we should read books. Books are great. Books are really sick. Like, guys don't even understand. Like,
they always seem to come at the fucking right time. You know, when you're perfectly susceptible to receiving these ideas, and then they come into your life. There's been a few books. The Four Agreements was a huge one. The Alchemist and The Power of Now.
Yeah, The Alchemist is a big one for me.
Alchemist is fucking amazing.
Well, so
it's about
I was
omens.
actually gonna say that, but I'm gonna say this, but then I actually want to ask you guys a question. But I am on a similar track as you are, with where you're saying like there's sort of this push going on that you kind of like either accept or don't or whatever, but like, or not, I guess not accept or don't, but you get what I'm saying. But like the way sometimes I see it, and this isn't like what I'm consistently always thinking, but I have tapped into this feeling sometimes. It's which The Alchemist actually is the one thing that made me think this when I read it, is that I often describe it as like a river. It's like there's this sort of flow of the universe that and it's like flowing a river and it's going in a certain direction. And But the difference is that I don't really think it's like predestined in the sense that like I feel like you do have a choice to swim with it or against it. But when you choose to swim against it, you feel the resistance.
Yes.
Yeah.
So like you can feel that when like, I mean, in The Alchemist, they talk a lot about this like omen reading thing is like,
okay,
this kid has these like rocks and whatever. He's basically learning how to read omens. Like this guy's telling him like, you need to learn how to like the omens are like the language of the universe. Like when the universe is trying to tell you which way it's going for you to be able to like follow it.
That's like coincidences or anything.
Just things that are happening. It's like you pick up on it and you're like, oh shit. But what I read that as, instead of, I don't really think that the omens are external. For me, they feel more internal. And what the omen is like tapping into your internal compass. Because it's so hard sometimes to even know what the fuck you want.
right?
Yeah. Like we all have trouble like really knowing what we really want. Or sometimes we
we're
feel
also
like
trying to just keep up with everything that's happening around us. So it's like
exactly. And there's so much going on that it's hard to like, sometimes we think we want something, maybe we don't, etc. So I feel like maybe there's this internal, like deep down, it's like what I really, really want. But it's covered by all this dirt, let's say. It's buried deep in there. And it's hard. Some people are closer to it, some are further away. And it's hard to tap into it. But the omen reading is sort of like reading your own internal thing and being like, oh no, wait, this is what I need. This is what I want. Being able to read that, the language of your own sort of like desire or spirit. And so when you tap into that and when you read that and you decide to listen to it, like you're sort of swimming with the river. You know what I mean? It's like the universe opens up for you. All of a sudden it's like, no, this is what you're supposed to be doing. And then when you're making decisions for the wrong reasons, or you're giving into desires that aren't truly what you want, or whatever the thing is, you're ignoring that sort of like that deep rooted desire or whatever the thing is of of like your soul, so to speak. Then you start feeling the resistance. Things are suddenly like pushing against you. You feel the world and life pushing against you in this way that like feels like, I don't know, weird and
natural.
Yeah, natural or yeah, exactly. So I feel like sometimes I feel like that. I mean, I wouldn't say that that's like always exactly what I'm thinking or whatever, but it's so sort of similar to what you're saying. There is like a flow of things, but in my mind, I'm like some people make the mistake of choosing to go against it or try to go against it.
So when you're like if you make decisions in your life, like these are things you're thinking about, or is this kind of stuff that you just kind of like are you a kind of person like, because I know you said you're not necessarily like atheist, but you're just like not really into like
yeah.
So do you like, does this stuff that you think about kind of often, or not really? It's just like every now and every couple of months it sort of hits you like that's what you think? Or...
Yeah, I don't know. I think
what do you want?
Yeah. I think about it relatively often
because you articulate it really well. That's why I'm asking.
I've thought about it a lot for sure.
Yeah.
Over the years, I would say I think about it less now than I did before. When I was like in high school and like right out of high school and stuff, like it was on my mind constantly. Like it was like but it's exhausting. It got really exhausting to constantly be like trying to like, you know, whatever. And I got to a point definitely where I was like, I just want to live my life like a little bit and etc. And just sort of like, and again, things have changed. Like I also like, I used to think like, you know, what is it? Like there's this quote by, I think it's Aristotle said like the unexamined life is not worth living, because he was just such a thinker.
Right.
And I got to a point where I was like, I don't know if that's fucking true. Like if I just have fun, like, and then I die, like what's wrong with that? You know what I mean? So
I think there's only I think you can only do that for so long.
Yeah.
You know,
definitely
like ignore those feelings and stuff, because eventually, like as a human being, I feel like you do have to have those
substance.
Yeah, just those dives.
You need to have balance too, because like if your constant goal is always just seeking fun, you desensitize yourself, and the things that you find fun end up getting further and further and further until you have to do some crazy shit in order to feel anything.
It's the same thing with work. I mean, we work so much, and if you're like consistent, even if it's something you love, like if you spend too much time doing one thing, that thing can sour. Or like the product is not as good, like what you're pumping out, or
definitely.
You're going through,
or you're just not enjoying it, or whatever. Like, like we have to find a lot of balance,
which is so relevant to us as musicians, because like,
so there's like
that's always the thing.
Going back to like what you're talking about, those like rivers and like the flow, and like if you're like swimming against the grain, sometimes I feel like it's like we have like these different rivers like within our lives.
Oh, for sure.
And it's like sometimes I feel like
I'm down. Actually, I'm down.
Yeah.
Sometimes like we're swimming, or like you're just flowing with the river, and then it feels like you hit resistance, and I feel like sometimes you just like have to get out of that like particular river and then find another one where it's easier to flow.
Definitely. And if
that makes sense.
The way I think about
that's a little hippy dippy.
It makes sense.
The way I think about that, sorry, really quick, I just because I know exactly what you're talking about. I feel like it's when the river turns. So you're like swimming in a certain direction. You're like, oh, this is exactly the direction I'm supposed to go. And then you hit a wall and you're like, wait, what the fuck? And then it's like, because you have to turn with it. You have to kind of like, you know what I mean? You have to like realign yourself to like turn with it or whatever. The other thing though that I think about is like, what's really difficult is like what voice to listen to in your own head.
Right. Okay. So I was just about to ask you something similar to that. It's like, do you even think you know what is best for yourself? Like,
yeah, that's the hard part.
Do you like human beings like lay out all these plans and they're like, you know, I have these goals and these plans and blah, 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 blah. But it's like kind of ignorant of even if that's best for you or not.
Yeah.
Right. I mean,
well, think of this. You have a very incomplete picture of yourself, right?
Right.
You
and the future is very much like impossible to like predict.
Yeah, completely impossible to predict. As a matter of fact, we don't know what the fuck's gonna happen in 5 minutes. You know, power could go out. Anything. And so, but the problem is that we view ourselves through the lens of our own mind.
Yeah.
So you always have, JD, you're a bitch, bro. We're passing around the old.
That's not why the conversation is so philosophical.
Yeah, we just barely lit this shit up.
We just started.
This is gonna go.
We actually just lit up a glizzy. It's not even weed.
Yeah. Wait, what's a glizzy?
Just a fucking hot dog, bro.
Oh, you know, I feel like I just came across this term for the first time like 2 days ago on Reddit.
Really?
Yeah.
On Reddit?
On Reddit. Yeah.
The term is kind of like not being.
Damn, your finger's really on the pulse there, huh? You've been watching too many 90.
Everything that I just said, is outdated.
You've been watching too many 90-year-olds get pro.
Yeah.
So what were you saying?
Well, we have completely inaccurate pictures of ourselves because we're looking at ourselves through the lens of our own mind.
Yeah.
And through others. Like, I feel like we think about others, we think about how like we're being perceived often more than how we want to be.
Yeah, definitely. I was thinking about that today. Where I was like, damn, I really care about what people think of me.
You really do?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I fucking do too.
Down,
I do too.
Everyone does.
I do too, but I think
really
I do
trying
now
to less than ever.
Me too. I agree.
I do now less than ever.
But it's still a lot.
It's
still there though,
and it's still there.
Like I feel like it's such a prevalent and such a like human thing that like that even people who say like people who get to the point where it's like zero for them, they're like, I don't give a fuck at all. That's just like not counting like the reserve tank that is always there.
Not counting the reserve tank and not counting individual incidents that may happen and may occur. You know, it's not like you're safe forever. It's like something could happen where you're
that actually I think,
oh shit, I really fucked up.
It's like, it's like shouldn't have said that, or I wonder if this person took it that way.
Yeah, do they think I'm weird, or are they judging me right now, or like
in general,
whatever?
That concept of like
they are
what you just said of like you're not always safe. I feel like is also just pertains to everything that we're talking about, and it's like even this thought process and all these kinds of things like. You're never gonna find like the answer and just be like, this works forever. This is exactly the answer for the rest of my life. It's a constant search and struggle, you know.
And the only thing that you can really change is within yourself. You know, that's the only thing that you truly have access to change. You know, you make effects on the outside, but like, you know, because like even if you're thinking like, what are other people thinking about me right now?
Yeah.
What it most likely is you're viewing that again through the lens of your own mind because you're thinking about what other people are doing as well. Just by having that question.
Funny enough, those people that you are thinking about are thinking about things that they're not even thinking
about. They're not thinking about you. Yeah, they're thinking about them.
They're all thinking about it, and I'm doing the same thing to you guys right now, and I'm trying not to. I'm trying to be super present for this conversation right now and like actually like fucking be here with you guys in the room. But my mind wanders, and that's just what our minds love to fucking do.
It's weird, like even as we record the podcast sometimes, like I'll say, this happens like almost every time we record the podcast. I'll say something and I'll be like, are people gonna take this the wrong way?
How do you feel about what you just said right now?
Right now?
Yeah, right. Like as you're speaking right now.
Oh fuck!
I don't know.
But no, it's like it happens all the time.
I was thinking about that right before we started too, where I was like, why did I say yes to this so easily? Like, shouldn't I have thought about it a little bit and been like, am I ready to speak publicly right now?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
To push
but then I was like, you know what?
That's how I feel before. Every time we do one of these, I'm like, I don't really feel like talking right now. And then as soon as I get going, I'm like, this is fun. I like talking.
It's perfectly,
also, it's not live, so you can like.
I feel like it's perfectly exemplified in like the first 30 seconds of every single episode, especially when we have someone on that's like never really done something like this. It's always there's like a moment of like, all right, hey, this is episode 12.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like you should get the ball ring.
All right, we're here with it's like not it's not that
Well, also I'll say, because I feel like
Crazy.
I do that. I think I did that this time and the last time. And I think it's because I feel like because I'm like technically the guest, that I'm like, well, you guys sort of set up the conversation however you know what I'm saying?
There's so much less pressure on me than ever before in a podcast because I was doing the podcast for myself, and I do a podcast for my job. So I'm always the one fucking running it. So I'm always in your position. Like, you've got the headphones on. Do you feel detached because you're in headphones?
No.
No, do you feel more?
I feel like I'm listening to the better version.
Yeah.
I was gonna say I wish I had headphones.
Have you? Maybe it's because I wouldn't even call what we do hosting. Like, do you feel like because maybe we're both representing the band or whatever that you don't feel like it's like? I don't feel pressure whenever we start.
I don't feel pressure at all, and I feel like maybe like you say, like the first 30 seconds of the episode or whatever, it's because we purposely come in very unprepared. And it's like
exactly.
We don't like to.
We don't even have like hey, welcome to I'm Maddie, and this is
like we don't like to treat this as like an interview. Like we don't. I don't feel man. So
just a conversation
on your first album.
That would be unnatural. And then eventually, like we always talk about music, especially, and I'm sure we will today. We always end up talking about music and stuff.
Yeah, I was actually about to like try to
slip that in there.
We can segue into music because we've been talking about a lot of other stuff.
Yeah. I feel like I always steer the conversation in that direction.
Yeah.
Almost, but I'm just so fucking interested. Like, what the fuck is the nature?
Well, you said you have a podcast. What's like the format? Like, do you have guests or you kind of just talk yourself?
Yeah, I have guests. You know, I've never done one where it's just me, but that would be an interesting thing to try to do. I don't know.
I'd listen to that shit.
Really? If I just fucking ranted, I've thought about doing it, but I'm like, I've just never tried it. I guess I could just try it, and if I don't fucking like it, I just won't put it out there.
Don't put it out.
I feel like
something
that's
about
so much
like pushing out energy, you know, like you were saying earlier, like you push out a certain energy, and like these are the conversations that I feel like always get like so like to the root of the issue, because I feel like we have all these head issues, we have all these fucking like, oh, I've got a fucking, you know, I gotta fucking release a song, I gotta fucking do this, that. We've got all these head issues, but then we get to these like deeper spiritual issues.
Well, sometimes I feel like it's hard to process your thoughts by just thinking thoughts.
Yeah.
You can't really uncover something, for me at least, unless I'm like speaking it into existence. Like sometimes I don't even really know what I'm thinking until I like
my thoughts, when I really think about what my thoughts are, it makes no fucking sense.
My head, so like me generally too. So I can have like, I don't know, like conversations and revelations just sitting there like staring at my phone and stuff, or like something like that.
I do the same, but I also get stuck in like cycles, I guess, or like, you know,
helps. I mean, what you're saying helps loops? A lot because like talking to somebody as opposed to thinking like helps you like realize it, and it helps you kind of like organize it a little bit. But I feel like I can just like sit in my head and think and have, I don't know,
good nice thoughts.
Good nice thoughts. Good, yeah.
I feel like what is there? There's that one thing that is like good thoughts, good words, good something. I don't fucking know. Actually,
good pussy.
Good pussy, and those are the three most important.
Nietzsche said that.
Kind of
it is. I mean, it is, but I think that it's like some Eastern religion thing. I don't remember. Good thoughts.
Is live, laugh, love an Eastern religion?
I have no fucking. I don't.
No, bro, that's Western. Fuck. That's the white girl
Martin
shit.
Luther King Jr. said that.
Shit. And
he said, "I have a dream.
I had
one
a
day
dream
we'll
that everybody would live,
laugh,
laugh, and love." Those are the three. I mean, those are good things to do. Live, laugh, and love. There's a lot of other things that you might want to do in life besides those things, but those are good things.
Let me ask you guys.
Let's hear it.
I want to kick this off. What are you guys' top 3 albums?
All right.
Okay.
Just right now, off the top of your head. Don't think about it too hard.
Dark Side of the Moon. Oh shit. I don't know. I'm really torn on Mr. Morale and Big Steppers right now because that shit shot into really high fucking territory very quickly. It's like kind of like the New Girl, you know. It's like, you know, the new one.
All right. Well, I mean,
it's like, you know, I don't really know her.
If it came to mind,
man,
but she's interesting. She's interesting right off the bat. So I'm gonna go safe with To Pimp a Butterfly. Great. And let's say Songs in the Key of Life by Stevie Wonder.
That's good.
That is good.
Okay, this is just off the dome. I'm gonna say Exile on Main Street by the Rolling Stones.
Okay.
The second, I can't remember the name of it right now, but it's the second Roots album, the blue one, where there's 3 of them like looking at the camera.
I don't know.
That's one of my favorite albums of all time.
Dude, can I take a sip of your water?
Oh no.
Thank you so much.
And number 3.
Can I get something?
I mean, dare I say lonerism?
All right.
Yeah,
right.
no,
I'm gonna
it's
go with
so
that.
good. So good.
So good.
Go ahead.
All right. It's a big one. I don't know my third. I have 2. I'll figure it out. But I would say Random Access Memories. Definitely one of
That's a great fucking album, too.
I'd say I really like the Mouse and the Mask, the MF Doom and Danger Mouse record.
Danger Doom.
Yeah, Danger Doom record.
The food is really good.
Yeah, I fucking love love MF Doom, but I for some reason I just really love that collab. That
Mad
collab
Villain
record.
too.
Yeah, and then I'd have to go. I don't know. Probably just fuck. What's the White Stripes record? That's a French. It's escaping me.
Distill?
Yeah, Distill.
I think it's.
Oh,
Dutch,
yeah.
something
It's a
like
French
I like that.
record.
I like
It's
that.
a French White Stripes
That's the one with
record.
No, it's not French. It's just the name. It's an art movement. It's a French art movement, but I don't know how to pronounce it. It's
Yeah.
Oh,
like-
okay.
French.
Do you know what the
It-
movement was or is?
I remember reading about it, but I don't
Yeah,
remember
yeah.
exactly what the
Okay.
movement involved.
Interesting.
I think it has to do with the cover, like those
Distill.
abstract, like
Yeah.
squares. And shit
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that.
That's. I was gonna say. I'm pretty sure it's like lines
And it's like
squares.
I feel like it's shapes and then like bold coloring, I believe, but I could be completely wrong. You can check it out for yourself.
Okay, yeah, I'll make sure to Google that.
Yeah, that's a
What are
great
yours?
fucking record.
Swoon.
I didn't think about it because I did want to do right off the top of my head.
I just like went around.
Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, Kanye. Fuck, man, that's really hard.
Yeah,
In-
that hard
Sour,
question you
Olivia
fucking asked
Rodrigo.
us.
I know In
Yeah.
Rainbows by Radiohead.
Oh
and,
yeah, fuck a Radiohead record. but-
And damn, what's another one like? I'm gonna go with. Damn, probably
Damn.
It's
no,
Sam.
no. Probably Post by Bjork. Actually, I really fucking love that album.
Is there anybody right now that you? I'm gonna ask you guys a question now. Is there
Yeah.
anybody, Swoon? I'll start with you.
Yeah.
Is there anyone that you've been meaning to listen to but you haven't gotten around to, and it's kind of
Oh,
irking
damn.
you? Like,
Oh fuck, that's a great question.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a really
wow.
good question, but I don't know.
Everyone has that, right?
I
It's
think-
like
yeah,
I've been
I've
really
got-
meaning to get
I've
into
got a
this.
bunch.
I know
Yeah.
someone.
It's hard
I've
to
been.
Yeah, I'm
think
sure
about-
there's a lot. Yeah, I'm sure there's a
The reason
fuckload.
You wanna
that
start?
is so hard because I keep forgetting about
Yeah,
them, and then I
exactly, that's
remember I'm like,
why-
oh yeah, I was supposed to check that motherfucker
Exactly,
out.
yeah.
I can't even think of
That's the
them.
hard part is because
That's
like
the hard
Yeah,
part.
if I
Is
can-
you
if I
forget.
can
you forget
figure
about
out
it,
One
yeah.
person I've been meaning to listen to, but I've never
We're
listened
gonna
to
judge
anybody
the
except
shit
for
out
one.
of you if you've never
are.
heard it.
No, you really are. Olivia Rodrigo.
Oh, okay.
I've
No,
never heard
I-
any of her stuff
I really.
except for that one big song.
Yeah. No, I mean that's recent, so I
JD
don't.
showed me that. I feel like I would have never if JD hadn't showed it.
Yeah.
JD is a great fucking source of like
he is. He's
finding new music and
Definitely.
like just random fucking knowledge, bro.
Yeah,
You
like
have
how do you
so
find
much-
just random ass music?
How do you find random ass music, random ass fucking just knowledge about this music? You just
look it
you're
up,
just so
man. I
fucking
don't know.
curious.
Yeah, pretty much.
I'm just super curious.
I just like one of the first things I do when I really like music is like I immediately want to know who it is.
Mhm.
I'm very like interested. Like who is this person? Like
Yeah.
what do they like? What is their process like? What do they think like? You know, if I really like it anyway. And so I'll always go on like their Wikipedias and just like read about them or like watch interviews. I really always try to find
Interesting. So
interviews.
you're,
like that.
all the
you're
time.
super
I like going-
personal with it. You really like to know. Interesting.
Yeah.
The first thing I like to know if I hear a song, I go on Wikipedia and I look at the personnel and see who. That's
Who's
like the
on it.
first thing
Yeah,
I wanna
yeah,
know.
yeah, yeah.
I was
Oh,
like, dude,
wow.
who is playing this
Interesting.
song?
Wow, yeah.
On this? Like, who's playing bass or
Yeah.
congos? On
Yeah,
this?
one of the first for me is who produced it too, because
That's almost never the first for me because I'm like always. I don't know. The way that I find music is really fucking random. Do you guys have like methods? Do you have like a
on how to actually find the music.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
You just go on
related
Spotify
artists.
radios and shit?
Sometimes Spotify radios. That's
All right, I'm
rare.
gonna bring up another beef because this came about with Edwin. With
Okay.
Warm.
Warm.
Warm bedrooms.
It's so funny.
Yeah.
He wants to be called
is it?
Warm
Because we were
Bedrooms.
talking about this. I think the three of us were in my car one time, and this is my beef with Spotify and
Oh,
my beef with
yes.
Spotify playlists.
Yeah.
Warm bed Ed.
So
Warm
your
Ed
Spotify
rooms.
daily
Warm bed
playlist
Ed.
and whatnot, and this is what we came to find out. because it started with like a country music playlist.
Right.
And like I'll tell you right now, if I type in country music playlist on Spotify, I'll get XYZ list of songs. If you type in country music playlist,
is that what you do? Just type in country music playlist?
No. This is just for example.
Okay.
You'll get a different one.
You're going to get completely different songs, and they're going to be tailored to stuff that you already listen to.
That's the algorithm.
Let me
Sorry.
And the reason that I think this is a problem, and like how Edwin and I were talking about it, is because if you're a kind of person that's like unexposed to a certain kind of music, like I'm trying to look at like mariachi music or something like that, or like city pop, music. I'm gonna get this music that I'm already kind of familiar with. That's just like watered down version of all that.
That's
stuff.
the stuff that turned you off to even checking it out in the first place.
So I'm not gonna.
Well, we did. Do you want to talk about the exercise that we did?
Okay, so like we looked at. I like to put it into like an even more clear example.
Yeah.
Like if when I typed in country music, it would be like Willie Nelson and like George Jones and like these country guys.
Right.
When Edwin typed in,
same here.
He got like Lil Nas X, like Old Town Road, and like these.
Are you
Brad Paisley and shit?
Are you saying you both went to the same playlist?
We
or are you saying you just
all
searched
three
it?
of us went to it was like your country.
Or see, that's what I was gonna say. So that I think the thing about it,
but it was not like yours. It was like country. Like it was like a curated.
Yeah, the
playlist.
algorithm.
So everybody's not getting the same playlist. So on like Fresh Finds or something.
Yeah, you're not getting.
Everybody's getting the different playlists. All these algorithmic playlists.
Specific playlist.
This is that's what I was gonna say too. You're talking about like the algorithmic playlist, like that Spotify makes for you.
But it wasn't
what about the curated
that's what I was gonna say.
No, but it wasn't like your country mix. It wasn't like that.
It was a curated Spotify playlist.
Yeah, it was like that,
and it was different.
Yes.
That's fucked up.
Yeah.
I did not realize that, because you would think that the playlist, it would have some bearing on how high up in the the thing you are.
It is though. Like I mean, I don't know if that's true. Like I feel like that defeats the purpose of the curated playlist in general. But maybe it's true about some of them. But I know there are a lot for
got
sure.
onto one of those playlists,
it shows
curated ones a few. Yeah,
it kind of shows to the unreliability of finding music that way, because it's just tailored to. And this is why I don't really go to like find music on Spotify, is because
I get what you're saying.
It's just gonna show me like shit that I'm already kind of interested in.
But
I'm like, no, I want to know the stuff that I don't know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Your
that's when you go to the curated playlist.
I feel like you have to go to people's like random people's playlists. Yeah. That's how I fucking do it. If I ever really want to find some new shit, because it's
I don't really do that ever.
Because but like I try to find like deep cut, people obviously who are like who are not just putting the top thing. So I'll kind of scan through it. I'm like, all right, these seem fucking obscure. Like, let's do that. I
feel like I just in general, I in general just like try to always pay attention to like what new music is coming out, and then just like I don't know. I feel like I keep my eye on like a lot of different genres and like overall like. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's like different sides to me of like the industry of like people and artists who are of a particular genre or in a particular scene. And I feel like there's like a few big ones that you just kind of keep like always in rotation, like in your thing. So like, for example, new releases on Spotify is like really great because they just put a lot of random shit. It's just like a lot of random new music. And then the curated playlist is where you go if you want, like, if you're like, I want something different now. I don't really know like what, but just give me something else. I'll click on a random playlist that's curated to a certain genre, but then I'm like, what the fuck is this? Like, I've never heard any of this.
I think it just kind of speaks to like it's like we're kind of gearing away from this, but for like your average Joe to just find new music, you still have to do work. Like you still have to do
the average Joe doesn't try to find new music, I don't think.
No, I know, but that's what I'm saying. Like if you really are like trying to be studious or like expose yourself to new music and or new art or whatever, you really kind of have to work for it and ask people and like, really kind of dig in or like go down a rabbit hole of like YouTube or like like you're like listen to like you were saying
YouTube. I
listening
think is
to like
I think YouTube is
like
one.
YouTube is great.
You go on YouTube and
because they're always recommending you like
I have like seen or like found really random shit that I would have never known, and I'm like, dude, this is sick.
Listening to an interview or something, and like one of your favorite musicians just mentions some random fucking guitar player or like, oh yeah, this like xylophonist like fucking guy.
That's
and you're
another
like, who the fuck is that?
Out,
you look it up and just like, oh my god, this guy's amazing.
Yeah, that's how I found a lot.
I feel like the biggest probably like source of my new music comes just from reading like other people's influences.
Right.
Like if I read about a certain band I love, and then anyone like, especially my favorite artists in the world, like Kanye and Kendrick and etc. Like if they say the name of an album, I'm like, well, let me see what the fuck that's about.
Yeah,
like
course.
That's a really fun rabbit hole to go down because you can look up their influences and you can read about their influence.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what happens all the time. Exactly, that's what it is.
I have an answer for your question. There's this album that I've been meaning to listen to that just got
okay, let's hear it.
Like but I don't think I can pronounce it. It's all in I think Japanese.
Try it.
It's a 1978 album.
Who's it by?
It's all in like
Japanese characters.
It's all in characters and stuff. But
yeah, just try to pronounce it though, man.
Oh, I can tell you right now.
No, try to pronounce it.
I think it's written in English. Yukihiro Takahashi.
Let me see what the cover looks like.
Yeah.
It's like a city pop album.
I think it is a city pop album.
I've been listening to a lot of city pop lately.
What is city pop?
It's like Japanese disco kind of.
Kinda, yeah. But it's like
sick,
usually
bro.
based
Is it like
around,
80s bass type thing?
Yeah, it's 80s. Yeah.
Okay, all right. So I've been hearing.
It's really sick. It's really fucking.
It's
cool.
like
There's a few of those that I've heard that it's like
Yes,
it has a weird
Sarah
nostalgic vibe, but it feels new enough to like.
Yeah, and it's like dance music.
It does.
Yeah.
It feels really dancey, and it is kind of nostalgic too.
Yeah.
A lot of it is sampling like old R&B.
I'll listen to this today.
Like they'll sample like or some kind of jazz.
I
thing.
feel like I'm thinking of something else
then
then
they,
because this actually maybe I'd have to see what qualifies.
Oh yeah,
that.
I feel like I've seen
Does anybody else hate the sound of their
That's
own
such a
voice?
cool fucking cover.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
show Dan the
does.
cover of that. Doesn't that look so fucking good? This was recommended to me randomly. Sarava.
You know what I'll actually send you? Speaking of city pop, I'll send you this album too that you should listen to. It's this guitar player.
Yeah, text it to me right now.
Maddie,
I think you'll really like it.
how often do you turn on the night shift on your
It stays
phone?
on
All the time?
all the time.
Okay.
I have very sensitive eyes.
I feel like I kind of do too.
Look
Me
how
too.
beautiful and blue they are.
They are so beautiful and blue. They blue eyes take in more light, right?
Yeah, I've read that. I don't know if there's any water to it, but I'm really sensitive to light,
Your
especially
eyes look like water, bro.
bro.
Your eyes,
Bro?
I feel like you're the deepest blue things that I've ever seen in my whole life, and it's like if I were to be watching the Earth from the ISS. And you see that little blue marble down there? That's what your eyes are to me right now.
Just little old me.
Those
the
tiny
world in
little
your
things,
eyes.
you know, and you just realize the depth of the universe while looking at the Earth.
Yeah, he's
Yeah,
having a moment in your eyes right now.
Yeah. Anyway.
bro. When I
You're
had
just staring
COVID and I was
widely,
just
like-
like in my room, like tucked away, like fucking Nosferatu playing Elden Ring for 19 hours straight. When I came out, like when I went outside for the first time, it was like fucking. Like I came outside, I was like, I really felt as more Irish than I've ever felt in my
Oh my
entire
God,
life. I'm
bro.
pretty sure I almost combusted.
Wow. So do you legit have issues with the sun? Like, are you and the sun not
Bro,
good
look
friends?
Look at me.
You guys
Yeah.
aren't friends?
Do I
you
look
have
deep?
issues in the sun?
Do I?
Yeah.
I'm
got
Salvadorian.
No, you don't. Yeah, you
So
can.
I luckily get dark when I'm in the sun and I take it pretty well.
Me
You
too.
know?
tan?
Yeah, so do I.
Me
You
too.
tan?
Yeah, I do.
I don't.
I take it pretty well.
I've never seen you with a tan.
I don't think I've ever like been in the sun long enough. This summer I'm because I don't go to the beach very often, honestly. And
Well, you also have usually have facial hair.
Yeah.
And you do have like you
What-
usually
like,
have
most
long
of my
enough
hair is
hair
just
that
like
it.
these like
Well, usually it covers at least
race
your-
or
Yeah, I was gonna say,
nationality
what's
or
your
ethnicity?
Italian
You're
is like
Italian.
interesting.
I think
yeah.
that
You
makes
you
sense.
are very ambiguous. I feel
Really?
like I
It's
feel
'cause
like I
That's
could
good.
yeah.
People, I get confused for a lot. Like people
What
think
do
I'm
you
Middle
confuse-
Eastern sometimes.
Yeah, that's
and
what I
can
would
see
have
that too.
assumed.
Yeah.
I assumed you weren't, but
Yeah.
I'm like, he's somebody that could pass
Yeah.
as that.
Yeah.
What do you usually get?
I mean,
Nothing
people
specifically?
just usually ask. Yeah, people are like,
Okay.
oh, people say like, I thought you're Mexican, and I'm like, really? And but you know,
Are you not?
Yeah, I feel like.
Maybe half.
Do you
Nah.
do you
Well,
are,
I have a little bit of Spanish in me actually.
how do you guys feel about the way that you,
You don't have
look?
any. You don't have a Mexican.
I think I look fine.
Yeah, of
What
course.
is
Yeah,
that?
Wyatt's of course gonna feel like he looks fine. You're the
Yeah.
Wyatt's the hottest swell.
No, no way.
He's-
No way.
Of course.
I think all the
I think
swells
all you
hot.
guys are hot as fuck.
Yeah,
Hey.
I feel like everybody in this room's hot as fuck.
That's
Let's
right.
go.
That's
It's
fucking
hot,
right.
hot mother. Oh shit! I'm sorry.
Why? How do you feel that you look? When I met you, you had short, like really short hair. The long hair looks
Yeah,
good.
thank you, man.
Yeah, I like it
I
all.
was I had wrong hair. I had wrong hair. Ooh,
Ooh,
shit, that's a
racist, bro.
Freudian slip. I had long hair for
This
a long
chair.
time. Is it really uncomfortable? Yeah,
Do you
I
want
feel
a
like
pillow
mine.
or something?
You mentioned that. I'm like,
You
oh,
can give
my
him one of those
fucking
pillows if it
Yeah.
helps.
bastards. Can I have a pillow too?
Take a
Can I put my ass on
Do you want to
Wyatt's
sit on
pillow?
the bed? Yeah, sit next to me.
Oh.
Here, I'll hand
All
a
right,
pi-
here,
hand a pillow
and then
to
I'll
Dan.
take. Oh, I'll take that pillow. Oh shit.
Is that your favorite pillow? You don't want ass in your face?
Wow, guys, look, it's a different vibe now.
Just don't fart on it.
I have a hoodie in my backpack if you want to.
Listen, guys, once we get a HelloFresh sponsor, all this is going to be taken care of. We're going to have nice chairs.
You stick around.
Yeah, we're going to have nice chairs. We're going to have fucking...
Anyways,
phones for everybody.
Our sponsor this episode is 23andMe. Find out if you're Italian or Middle Eastern at promo code 23andme.com/.
Your dad says you're Mexican. Your mom says you're Italian. Log into 23andme.com.
Find out if your mother's a whore. 23andme.
Find out if your mother has ever had a colonoscopy.
That should be their slogan. Find out if your mom's a fucking lying.
What if we got sponsored by like a colonoscopy clinic?
Oh my god,
dude! Honestly, that'd be chill because I feel like I'd get a free
20% off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm free, bro.
Can we imagine that an alien is here with us right now?
Sure.
In this empty
Dan
chair.
fucking 2 tabs of fucking acid before coming on this podcast.
Let me bring this up before we leave because
fun,
it's been a very conspiratorial, or not conspiratorial, but we've
been on
thinking episode
for 20 minutes,
an hour.
Oh shit!
Really?
You guys, we asked if you do believe in ghosts, but what do you think about aliens?
I believe aliens are real.
Because recently they just came out and said that
the door on Mars.
They've seen a bunch of shit.
Oh, dude, the door is fucking crazy.
Have you seen that? The
Wait,
doorway
what?
on Mars
No.
that they found?
Dude, look that shit here.
That shit is crazy.
We don't have a Jamie. We gotta look.
All right. Wyatt,
Leroy, pull that up.
Wyatt, pull that up on Bing.
Wyatt's cat is the.
As our producer.
Sponsored by Bing.
I'm gonna search this up on Pinterest real quick.
No, but recently, I don't know about the
Facebook.
door on Mars, but recently these government guys came out and were like all the time we've seen like 400 unidentified objects. Recently.
Yes.
Wait, what does that mean? They're like we.
Exactly. We don't know what it
the
is.
fucking Pentagon.
No, I get that, but like, are there like certain that they're not aircrafts from other nations? Or
Well, they're doing
certain
things
that they're technology that doesn't exist on Earth.
They're doing things
I know
that
exactly
we
what you're talking
do not
about.
believe that any country has any capability to do so far.
Yeah.
They're doing all kinds of crazy shit. They're dropping down from like 15,000 feet to like 1 foot in like fractions of seconds. in these crazy ways that that defy what our current understanding of physics currently is. There's videos of these things fucking plopping into the ocean, and you can fucking see it. And unless the government's just fucking with us, which is a very
real possibility.
It's a very real possibility.
All right,
There's no way that we know because look,
there's
they
stuff in the sky.
dude, no, for real, the government fucking knows things that we will not know for 20 fucking years. And after the fucking ramifications of it have already happened. So it's like there's all kinds of shit like that. So like anything that they give us,
dude,
you think that they're giving us up to date fucking shit?
Hey,
No.
the U.S. government is always 100%
Always on it.
on it.
They're pretty fucking on it. Like they're fucking on
in
it
terms
because
of
they're
knowing
in everything.
things?
In a devious way.
They're in
devious
everything,
way.
you know, and
Fucking
even
Joe Biden's
this,
getting fucking sucked off by an alien right now.
Right.
Yeah.
In the
He
Oval Office.
pretends like he can't.
Yeah.
Does any of this
Because-
shit like legitimately bother you guys? Like you think about this shit and you're like, fuck.
I do, but like
Yeah.
to your point earlier, it's like how often can you think about stuff like that to the point where it's like I just gotta live my life.
Yeah.
Like,
No, that's how I feel too about
God.
a lot of that. Is that I'm like,
I'm just gonna write a 251 and call it a day, brother.
yeah.
yeah, exactly. That's
What? Because like, what can you do? You know, like,
I'm just gonna reinvent the 251.
I think like
You can push out fucking energy.
when it comes to aliens,
push out energy.
You can
I
push
feel
out
like
energy. Beautiful energy.
I do believe that they're real. Like obviously the probability that there aren't aliens in the
said,
universe is ridiculous.
Yeah.
But-
I'm gonna say something after you say something.
But also
That's
the
why I
one
don't
say
thing that
something.
recently I've thought about that's kind of changed my mind because I used to be like for sure right now alive somewhere there are aliens, right?
Right.
Now I if you think about like how old the universe is and just up till now, and then if you just in general think of the entire lifespan of the universe, which we're just like a tiny, as humanity, a tiny fraction of.
Yeah.
I feel like within that ridiculously infinitely long lifespan, the idea that at some points during the life of the universe, there wasn't no life or even just one planet with life in the whole universe is kind of, it seems more likely if you think about it in that term, right? Like it's like, I'm sure at some points during the lifespan of the universe, there's just no fucking life for some reason for a short amount of time.
Yeah.
Or there's just one planet like us that you know that are that. I'm not saying I don't know for a fact.
I think anybody that has ever given like a good amount of thought to the actual fucking size of the universe and how impossible it is for the human mind to comprehend how big that is, I think that is like just the logical conclusion, right?
It seems like the logical conclusion
because it's so like I don't think people. Like obviously they don't understand, but I think that it's so far beyond their understanding that they have like a cartoon version of it in their fucking head because that's the version I fucking have of it.
Yeah.
You know, and I give a lot of thinking to it. It's still cartoonish because it's so beyond your comprehension that you fucking revert back to like childhood fucking version of things. You know what I mean? Like it's that fucking crazy if you really think about it.
It's true.
Unless I'm just projecting. Actually, maybe that's just me because it scares the shit out of me.
What you just said though is exactly what it's exactly what I think about people's mentality toward this kind of shit in general. Is that it's like a lot of people are like, why wouldn't there be aliens? Or because definitely one thing that I thought about is like I don't think there are aliens near us.
Okay,
if they exist,
I'm gonna right there because that was what I was going to say.
Okay.
Is that what I think I do think that people are saying unidentified objects, but what I think they are, and this is what I've heard from somebody else, this was not my own thought, but I think it's the most probable thing, is that they're drones from other planets.
In
the same way that we send like a rover to Mars, they're sending that to our planet to just kind of like check it out. But it's unmanned. There's nobody
If that's true, then that means that drone maybe went back and now those aliens know about us.
Oh, for sure. That would be the thing, is that
they just learned like, holy fuck, there's all this life.
There's all these fucking apes down there, bro. We're gonna mine for all the lithium.
I had somebody bring up this idea to me. I had somebody bring up the idea to me that these things are actually like higher dimensional beings.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about that? That there's beings that are conscious that live in higher dimensions that transcend.
Oh, like Slaughterhouse 5?
What?
Have you ever read the book Slaughterhouse 5?
No, that's Kurt Vonnegut.
What is
it's Kurt Vonnegut. Yeah.
Kurt Vonnegut's so fucking good, dude.
It's a lot like that. It's like a fictional story about beings that can move in like different dimensions, and so their entire existence is already planned out. Like they just move within it at all times, and they can see the past, present, and future movements. So like if we're like looking in this room right now, we can see JD's moving this and back and forth constantly. It's just there.
Yeah.
And like all of us scattering about this room, like we would be able to see that constantly already. It's there. You know how like we can't. It happened.
That's the fourth dimension. Yeah.
Like it happened and we can't see it anymore.
Yeah. It's like Donnie Darko, the whole like snake thing. It's like there's a timeline that you're on, and the whole idea is that a being in a higher dimension can go to so they can either move across the timeline in ways that we can't because we experience it chronologically, right? We experience it in one direction.
Like it happens and it's over.
Yeah. Yes, and that's our existence. But there's beings that can cross that barrier. You know,
it's always happening.
And then there's beings, so there's also theories of higher dimensions that there's other timelines that exist. So for every single small little decision that you make, there's an alternate timeline where you made a different decision to the infinite degree. Because there's infinite things that you could be doing, down to like the molecular level of the entire universe.
But going back to what you were talking about higher dimensional beings, I think the idea is that, because what you're talking about now is like other dimensions, like not just, you were specifically saying the fourth dimension, which is time, right?
Yes.
Which is like, so we are three-dimensional creatures who experience the world in 3D, or like physically, but we perceive it with our eyes in 2 dimensions, one dimension below. And we then don't perceive.
We perceive it in 3 dimensions.
Well, yeah.
Our eyes look in. You're not looking in 3 dimensions right now. You're seeing everything.
Yes, you are. That's the whole thing.
I'm 3D. No. Well, you are 3D. Like you exist in 3D, but I'm seeing just the front of you. I'm seeing you in 2 dimensions.
Oh, okay.
When you look around, it's flat.
Well, it's
in that. No.
Shadows.
You see depth.
JD, you need to get your eyes
that's what I'm saying. Hold on. Let me
really quick. Go ahead.
Okay.
I know what you're saying, but we're perceiving the depth like through shadows and because we have 2 eyes.
Wait, dude,
that's what 2 eyes do. But wait,
people with one eye will perceive things in 2D. And that's that. Yeah, well, that's the condition.
Why did I both just close?
Listen. Seeing in 3 dimensions would be seeing the space completely, meaning I could see what's behind you because I'm perceiving the entire room through my eyes. That's what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? Like you're
talking about having like a bird's eye view.
Yeah, I know what you're saying, but I don't know if that means
that's seeing in 3 dimensions, because that's why in the 4th dimension you're seeing time with as a spatial dimension.
Right. Okay. Right.
Right. And and perceiving it as a spatial dimension. So
I'm confused.
Yeah.
No,
you just got to read Slaughterhouse 5.
Yeah. Why would our eyes? Why would we be in 3D?
Thanks,
I mean,
Kurt.
I guess we're in 4D, but we experience shit 3D. So maybe we see 2D.
I kind of see what you're saying.
Yeah.
About not being able to see behind.
Yeah.
Well, we're not seeing. Yeah.
But you about to take my 1D right now?
Yeah. But if you were seeing 2D, it would just be like looking at a piece of paper.
I'm saying the image is flat. Like I'm like. Not that we okay.
Like I can see like I can
Jamie,
see this
pull this shit up.
I know, yeah. Maybe
I can
see
right. This mic stand and I can see you behind it. You know what I mean? There's dimension to it. Like 2D is on one plane.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think I'm qualified to talk about any of this.
It's really mind-bending stuff. See, I love this shit.
No, it's interesting.
I talk about this shit all
it's
day
interesting.
long.
I just don't
let me hit this shit.
Nobody is really.
This is from ScienceDaily.com.
Have you ever heard of Joe Rogan?
From ScienceDaily.com, scientists record visual cortex combining two. Oh, hold on. Scientists record visual cortex combining.
I'm surprised you can even read with all that acid
Summary. We live in a three-dimensional world, but everything we see is first recorded on our retinas in only 2 dimensions.
Boom!
Wow. I stand corrected.
That's what I'm saying.
I stand corrected.
But our brains interpret it as 3 dimensions because
of shadows and because of the fact that we have 2 eyes.
Yeah.
We're sort of tricking our brain into thinking that it's seeing the depth.
You know what's crazy that our
Listen, I'm gonna say I agree with you, but in my head, I know I'm right. Okay.
Can't we see depth?
I think that you eventually begin to lose it because your brain stops interpreting the extra. You know, the
no, because what it is everything around you.
It's like listening to something in mono. You know,
this
like
you'll
get the whole signal.
This
but
is what I'm saying. Everything around you is shooting light into your eye at such a fast rate that your brain doesn't perceive it as different.
Fast.
It's a speed. It's the speed of light.
Yeah, no, just
I hear what you're saying.
No, hold on.
I just still have.
So just imagine all the light from every object in this room, because the light from behind your head is not hitting my eye. Now it is. Because you turn around.
Well, but not from behind my head at the moment that you're.
Yeah, but my idea is head is reflecting light.
Stop looking at
but
my
not into
head.
my eye. The light is going directly from.
It's going in an omnispheric.
I know,
direction.
and okay. So imagine.
Wait, okay, hold on. This is what I don't understand about light.
We can't.
Wait.
We also can't because people are going to listen to this and we're driving them crazy.
I know.
That's true. We should maybe.
Yeah, we should. Yeah.
We should maybe move on. This has been such a high thought.
It's been a very thought specific podcast. I
mean, with it,
man. I thought I had ADHD when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, you said definitely.
I mean, you could cut it all out.
They thought I had ADHD.
No, we're not gonna cut any of it out. It's really good.
Do I derail conversations? I don't know.
No, I don't think so.
I kind of like to though. Sometimes I do it on purpose.
No, I think this has been a great episode.
Yeah.
I think that it's been a very thought-provoking episode.
I'm stimulated.
Did you stop it?
I was.
Huh? Did you stop it?
No, it's still going. Oh. I was really exhausted before we started the episode, and like Wyatt, I was like, I don't have anything to fucking talk about, bro. But here we are.
Yeah. What are we even talking about anymore?
Just so people don't know this, but as you guys were all like, for maybe like the last 2 to 3 minutes of that conversation, I literally had my hand over my eye, and I was trying to see if I was losing my depth perception. It wasn't a long enough time to really get a good read.
We're gonna fall off the bed.
I know, like fuck.
But he'll collect more data. I'm
gonna try teaching driving tomorrow with one eye closed and see if it affects.
Well, that's why you can't drive with one eye.
Because
you lose. I mean, you can.
Yeah, look, you see the timer at the top.
Oh, okay. I just felt like it was moving before, and I was like,
it is.
Listen, this is my first podcast.
No, I don't.
It has stopped going. The thing is stopped going.
It's only because it's zoomed really far.
Oh, I see.
We got 5 more hours of space there.
Let's go.
Yeah. How long have we been this going?
An hour and 13 minutes.
Whoa.
All right, let me ask you guys. I know that all of you guys are currently working on records.
Okay.
Yes.
How is that going? Like, what have you learned from the process? I'll ask that. From the process of making this last record.
What have we learned?
I would say my biggest thing that I think we've learned, and it's been the biggest, this is compared to the last record where it's exponentially faster the entire process, but I think something, and I think we talked about this the last time that you and Andrea were on, I think, at least for me, in the songs that I'm writing, I need to, as I'm writing, before I present something to the guys, I think I need to have an idea of like what the vocal melody and like the song, like we talked about, what the lyrics and vocal melody is going to be before I even present it, before it even gets fleshed out, because we ran into so many problems where it was like, almost felt like forcing something.
Right.
Were you trying to get the lyrics? Were you trying to get the lyrics to match the song?
There weren't lyrics, and there wasn't vocal melody on a lot of the tracks.
They like wrote them instrumentally first and recorded them.
That's what I'm saying, and then you're trying to think
to
later, like, what am I going to do for this thing?
Yeah, exactly.
Instead of starting,
and it becomes a problem, and it sometimes it feels inorganic. I'm at this point very proud of what we've done, and I'm very excited about this record. And that's not going to change. But
I've heard some of it; it's beautiful.
Oh, thank you, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
But I think next time, just for myself, just so that things are, I mean, we're always going to be working on getting better and just work. Like sometimes you have to feel like you're like managing a team, right? Like taking out the artistic and like spiritual elements of like songwriting and playing music and stuff like that. You kind of have to feel like, how can we make this machine like the most productive that it can be? And I think for me, one of the biggest things is like, as I'm writing a song, just come up with something vocal, figure out how that's going to play into everything. Cause it's one of the most important, and I scoff at myself even as I say this, if not one, like the most important thing in a song, at least to the listener.
Well, it's the message, it's the message that they carry away and that it's supported by everything behind it. Well, it depends on the type of music.
It's also often like the most like unique and identifying part of the song.
Yeah.
Whereas like instrumentally, it tends to start to feel like just
they
like
melt together.
Sort of, like it just becomes this abstract thing where you're like, okay, it's some chords and some drums. Like it just loses its character, I think, and it's like. But I was also going to say, like, in response to what you're saying, I'm glad that you're thinking that. But I think also the other way to sort of tackle it, which I feel like is a little bit more, it's a little looser than I think you guys usually are with your band. But like when I do the opposite, if I have like just the instrumental first or some kind of production or composition, and I'm like, I really like this, like the way this whole thing sounds, it's fucking great. I need to do something with this. But I'm having trouble because I can't I can't just suddenly start to write the song over it. I'm having trouble with that.
Yeah.
Is that I start to invite in other people's like ideas in the sense of like other writers, other musicians, people outside of like what's been banging my head on the wall. Like even if I'm working with one other person, like we need to suddenly be like, okay, what is someone else going to just like play guitar over this?
Yeah.
And what's going to come out of that? Is it going to make it different, or another singer, or whatever the thing is, like.
Yeah, I think that's something that in this past 2 or 3 months of kind of tackling, especially the vocal elements of this record, that I've been just like way more open to. We've invited a lot of like external. I mean, you've listened to a bunch of this stuff. We've had even just Kyle, Edwin's roommate, your longtime friend, obviously, just come in and be like, hey, like, what do you think of this? Like just like people that necessarily aren't.
So input from the outside.
Yeah, just like
I've been loving doing that lately because it's like. Ultimately when I put my music out, it's for me and it's for the people that already know me. But really what I hope for it is that it gets legs of its own and it sort of goes and it finds other people who I don't even know. So I like to, lately, because I was I've always kind of liked to show people the stuff that I'm working on. Sometimes I kind of feel like, fuck, I'm like spoiling the surprise or whatever because because I feel like
I've been doing that at all this record except for like contemporary.
And I feel like that's cool too. I feel like there's definitely different ways to approach it. I think for this record that I'm currently working on, like I've needed to show it to people because it's like
getting out of your head.
Getting out of my head and getting other people's perspectives is, I feel like it is important because even if it's not important for like the fact that like whatever they tell you, usually it's more so what your relationship, or at least for me, what it ends up being with the music when you're presenting it to somebody else.
How you feel
about it. Because like they can say anything about it.
Yeah.
But like in those moments, because you love this thing, if you truly love it, you'll be like,
you're vulnerable, so you're like analyzing
it's
it. You're
extremely
like,
uncomfortable.
Yeah, really? I was gonna say it just strengthens my relationship to the song itself.
I mean, sometimes it does, and sometimes it doesn't.
Sometimes it doesn't. There's been times where people have said things that fucked with my head a little.
Well, no, I'm saying like sometimes in that moment, because I am like really experiencing it in this more vulnerable way, that suddenly, fuck, I'm sorry, I'm losing my train of thought.
I usually get defensive when people start to talk shit. I'm like, no, this is fucking sick. Like,
I know. I feel that way too. I feel that way too.
But then that's what I mean by you get it by you build a stronger relationship.
But I'm saying
it.
Sometimes that happens, and sometimes I'm like, you're right. This is shitty.
For sure.
You know what I mean?
Sure. But that's what makes it scary. You felt that way, but you felt that way before.
Anyway, no, exactly. Yeah, exactly. No, it's true.
You just didn't realize it.
Definitely. I guess I was just saying sometimes it strengthens my relationship to the song, and sometimes it weakens it. Sometimes I'm like, wait, no shit, this isn't as good as I thought it was.
Right. I'm at a point now where I prefer not even to be in the room when someone's listening to my shit. Like,
wow. I don't care about that.
I just don't like what I've done this in the past too, where like I've played like the finished product of a record for like my parents, and I set it up on the speaker. And I'm like, okay, here's the record, and I press play, and I walk the fuck out of the room.
Wow.
And then we'll talk.
What did they say about it?
They've not heard any like a lick of any of the new stuff.
Oh, but it was the older record.
Oh,
right?
Of course they love it. They're my parents though.
Yeah,
so I'm not gonna fucking trust their opinion.
But were they like what did they say? Like were they like?
Well,
like, wow, like really,
I don't know. They're always like blown away when I show them something,
awesome.
but it feels.
But I get you though. Yeah,
but
it doesn't mean anything to you because you're like,
I dare you for your next record that you guys put out to show it, but stay there.
Stay in the room.
Stay there.
I stay in the room when I show people shit.
Me too.
I will. I'll try it. I'll try it this time.
Think of it like this. These are your babies, right?
Yeah.
Are you embarrassed of your babies?
I might be.
Fucking
performing on
Spotify. The very first time, like I think when I first started making music, like my late teenage years, I would do that when I would show my parents, specifically my parents, like if I would show them the stuff I'd been working on, like I would make some excuse to be like, oh, I got to go to the bathroom or something like that, and then I'd like play it, and leave the room or stuff like that, because I was kind of like, I was like kind of like nervous and embarrassed because I was like, this is something that's new to me, but now like. I feel like if like usually I'm just like I'm not gonna show the person this because I don't think it's ready yet. But if I'm at the point where I'm like willing to show somebody, I'm like, I want you to listen to this.
Yeah.
I'm not there yet with any of our songs.
Yeah, I've showed my mom one of our songs already.
Did she sign the NDA?
I
don't show my mom.
I miss your mom.
I don't show my mom like my music like directly. Like I don't mind if she hears it because I'm working on it in my room.
Yeah.
But like. And she'll come in sometimes and just be like, "That sounds really good." Like,
yeah.
But I don't. Sweet. I never am like sit down.
I always
play
this
for
you.
Would say, my mom would be like, "I miss like hearing you play the guitar."
Let me say,
Jesus Christ.
Let me say that one of the most.
That's why I don't call you anymore.
One of the most impactful moments of my whole life was when my mom accepted me doing music.
Right.
Because I mean, it's not that she didn't accept it.
Was it a battle?
She always. It wasn't a battle. It wasn't a battle. You know, I wasn't willing to battle over something like that.
But it definitely didn't start that way.
Yeah. So I feel like it was a thing where my mom, like, she's always fostered it. She's always loved that I love music.
Right.
But she just didn't feel like it was like a real, thing.
That's most parents,
that you could,
honestly.
That you could do. Or at the very least, she was like, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if it's just that I think I internalized it. I internalized it as she didn't have the faith in me to do it.
Okay.
Which is so fucking not true. My mom has more faith in me than literally anybody in the whole fucking world. And she's my fucking like when I really think of what a mother is, like you fucking came from that. You only exist because of that fucking thing.
Yeah.
Anyway,
don't call her a thing. She's a woman.
She's a fucking
she's a thing,
she's your mother.
That fucking thing.
That fucking thing of a woman. No, I love you, mom.
I'm sure she's not listening.
But yeah, she didn't really accept it. My dad's a musician.
Fucking thing.
Oh, really? Okay.
My dad's a musician, but he.
Does she think your dad's like a loser?
No, she does not think that he is the loser.
No, she doesn't.
But
that's not what you were saying earlier.
But shut up. I was not saying anything.
She was just.
Mom, I'm sorry.
Mom, I'm sorry. Yeah,
I totally get it. I totally get it. I mean, I would even.
But let me finish the story. It's okay. It's okay.
It's all right. It's okay. Stand down.
The moment that I decided to show it to her, it was super fucking vulnerable, right?
Yeah.
It's so vulnerable because
scary.
Yeah, because you're like
it's like a part of yourself
And especially if they don't really accept it, it's just like this thing, but you're like, it means so much to you that you're like, fuck.
I also think sometimes, sorry to cut you off, this is gonna be real quick. It's something like if you're singing lyrics in a song of shit that you don't normally talk about with your parents, you're kind of showing them a new side of you.
It's weird.
Yes.
I know you never.
Yes,
true.
you're showing them a new side of you. Yeah. And that's like the most intimate side of you.
I have this memory of in high school.
Wait. We don't want to cut Dan off.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay. I'm sorry. No, it's okay. It's okay. I like the flow. But anyway, I decided to show my mom the song. I showed it to her and she cried.
Oh my gosh.
That really affected me because it was a sad fucking song. It was my song Haze.
Yeah.
Which was
on Spotify.
Dan Durant.
Haze.
Yeah. 1,000 fucking things on it. There's no streams on my music. It's so sad, but it's okay.
That's gonna change after this podcast.
That's right.
It's gonna change.
Carter blew up not because of jokes.
Carter took off after this podcast.
But that song, I showed it to her, and it was like post a breakup, and I was like basically living away from home.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So I was never home, and I was just like finally back, and I was like in my room, and I just had nothing but fucking time now. Yeah. And I ended up writing this song, and I was really proud of it. And it was the first time that I ever like really wrote something. Like I was like, I'm gonna sit down and I'm gonna like write
a whole song,
Yeah. And it's because I got Ableton, like while I was living at this girl's house, I like had gotten Ableton, but I couldn't really do anything with it at that point because I didn't have a mic, I didn't have a fucking MIDI keyboard, I didn't know what the fuck to do, It's like, and it was like I didn't have a mouse or anything. So I get back and I finally can start experimenting with it and stuff, and I have these like really shitty speakers that my mom had like won from her like job.
Let's go.
Yeah. So it fucking interesting.
Some JBLs,
the whole thing fucking started. I don't know. There's some fucking off. Actually, were they like
some Zenith speakers?
I don't know. I don't know. They weren't great, but they were good enough.
I have some.
And
some Zenith speakers.
Yeah.
Are they
Let's
good?
Go. Those are fucking good.
They're old as fucking. I don't use
awesome.
them, but like yeah,
you could.
And
so.
And like. I don't know. I'd finally written something I was proud of, and I showed it to her, and she cried, and she was like, "Daniel, like, this is what you're supposed to be doing."
Oh, that's beautiful.
Nice. And I think it finally clicked for her.
Uh-huh.
And so from that moment, after I had that, when I was like,
put a battery in your back.
It did. Yeah. It did 100%. And I'm like, oh fuck, I can do this. Like the one person who was so fucking worried that it wouldn't work out, and they were to the point where they just, I don't know. There was some contention at times.
Of course.
Sure, yeah.
Nothing crazy though. I'm never gonna get fucking crazy with my mom, really.
Right.
But
slap boxing.
Yeah.
No, that's beautiful.
And my dad was, and I was lucky because my dad was super supportive because he was
also a musician.
And he's still trying, he's still
you just
trying.
Played a show with him.
Yeah, I just played a show with my dad.
For his
it was weird. It was cool. But it was weird because it was like, my dad.
And he just produced the song for his band, for his dad's band.
Yeah,
really?
Yeah. Thank you.
I would love if my kid. Okay, so I was gonna say this.
You
earlier.
Just said you would have no interest.
I was gonna say no.
in your kids being musicians.
No, that's what I was gonna say. I was gonna say, if my kid came and like wanted to be a musician, I'd be like, listen, this is kind of hard. Like,
no,
but not like. And it's just out of a protective sense. It's not like if they
really
want it. If they really wanted to do like, obviously I would support them. I would go to every one of my fucking kids' shows.
I get you. You'd just be like, think about it.
I would just be like,
before you
really.
I think you'd be so fucking proud. I think you'd be like, oh my god, I created another one of me. It's another little musician thing like me.
Have you ever thought of colonoscopies as a career?
Also, but the thing is, I think
I did for
most kids. For kids, like music, it has nothing to do with like the career at the beginning. They're just like, first off, you're probably gonna have instruments in the house already,
of course.
So they're just gonna start fucking with your guitar.
That
and
would
like,
be beautiful.
Get the fuck away from that shit.
It's when they choose to make it a career.
He's like, I'm gonna leave college because I want to go play in this band. I'm gonna be like, listen,
you're gonna be like, let me hear it. And then,
Dude,
and I'll tell you.
I have trouble letting my cat just discover the apartment by himself. I have a fucking kid. I can't imagine letting a kid discover the world by themselves.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother level of like, holy
feeling,
fuck. it's not even eerie.
Yeah.
It's probably so fucking threatening.
Hold on.
Such a good dad.
I wanted to, before we like veer off more on the subject just to this, because it related to what we were talking about like showing parents music, is when I was in high school, I had been producing for a few years. I sort of stopped for a good minute. When I met Kyle, because he taught me how to play guitar, and I started just getting into that side of things, which I had never done.
Yeah.
And then I transferred to high schools. I was in 11th grade, and I wanted to be involved in the music there somehow. So I joined the choir, and it was actually a really great experience. I really didn't sing much prior to that.
Yeah.
But that really got me out of my shell with that. And they had this show that was like the one show where it's not the choirs performing, but you audition to just perform whatever you want.
Okay.
It's called the Cabaret Show.
Nice. Oh yeah,
Cabaret,
yeah.
And I was like thinking about auditioning.
This is
so
Chats.
This is at Simi Valley High School.
Oh, see.
So I'm thinking of auditioning, and I'm thinking like, what song should I do? And at the time, I was playing these weekly open mics with Kyle and some other friends, and we would just do covers all the time, or sometimes like some originals or whatever. And there's this one song called "The Tide" by Spill Canvas, which is like a song that my sister would listen to when I was really young, when I was like a kid. And I've always really loved it. It's this acoustic song. It's super...
Sounds familiar. I feel like I've heard that song.
Passionate, maybe. It's like this super like dramatic story about these kids and like the ocean, all this shit. And it's really like passionate and etc. And I had learned it at that point, and it was sort of like the favorite for everyone around me that would hear me play it. They would like, they loved like that song always.
Yeah.
So I was like, maybe I should do that. So that week I go to the open mic, and I'm like, I'm going to play that song. And that's the only song that's just me on guitar, just me with an acoustic and the mic. And I play it, and I had actually invited some friends even, because I was like, I want to just like practice in front of like a bigger audience or something. Sure. So people came, and there were a bunch of people, and I played the song, and I ended up losing my place in the middle of it and fucked up so bad that I just stopped playing at some point and like ended the song early, essentially. Like wasn't even able to get through it, and everybody just was like super like quiet, and then like, oh, like or like whatever.
How far into the song?
And I was like, fuck, like I felt so shitty about it.
How far into the song did that happen?
It was maybe like 60%, 70% into the song.
Yeah.
75%, I'll say.
And how was the 75% up to
it was
that point?
It was fine. It was fine up to that point, but then I just like started fucking up and losing my time and whatever. The point is, I fucked it up pretty bad. Yeah. And I just had to stop, and it was super awkward, and I felt super shitty about it. And I was like, I'm not gonna audition with that song, then fuck that. So I go in with a different song, and I don't get it. And I'm like, whatever, fuck it. And then a couple days later, or actually right before the show, someone hears me doing it and says, you need to fucking show this to the teacher right now. So she brings her out in that moment for me to play that song for her. And then I did, and she's like, okay, you can play in the show then, basically, with that song. Yeah. Not the one that I'd done before. So I was like, oh fuck, I guess that was the right move. But I was really bugging about it. I was gonna do the tide, yeah. And she said because all the slots were filled up that I was gonna do just the intermission, like during the intermission. So I'm like, okay, that's a little easier. People aren't gonna fucking be looking at me or like whatever. So I'm practicing that song like fucking crazy every day, like 5 times a day.
Yeah.
And leading up to the thing, I'm like super fucking nervous. And then she comes up to me and she's like, so one of the acts dropped out right before intermission, so you're actually gonna play during the show.
Nice.
And I'm like, oh fuck, like the day of. I'm like, oh shit, okay. So that day I'm like playing the song like fucking like 5 times.
Yeah.
I had invited my mom, my brother, this girl that I really liked at the time.
Nice.
And like I knew a bunch of my friends were gonna be there. It was this whole thing. Leading up to it, I was gonna throw up. Like I was like fucking like pacing. Like I was like so fucked. And I get on the stage, super quiet, and spotlight. They're fixing the fucking mic and the guitar on me and shit. And I'm like, hi. And it's like, well, I hear it like fucking reverberate through the whole thing. Yeah. And I'm like, oh fuck.
It's like so a little bit of figure.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. And
somebody coughs.
Just like fuck. Yeah. So I start playing the song and whatever. I don't remember.
Yeah, you blacked out.
Yeah, exactly. I fucking blacked out, but I got through it.
Yeah.
And I did it, and I fucking nailed it, honestly. I get off the stage, people applaud and everything. I get off the stage, and it's immediately going into intermission. So then I come out to say hi to my family and everything. And as I'm walking out, people are like congratulating me, like, oh my God, congratulations, like blah, blah. One guy was like, why didn't they put you at the end? Like, how is anyone going to follow that? Like, blah, like saying really nice things. I'm like, oh shit. Like, I go up to my family, and my mom's like super fucking, excited and congratulatory. And then I go and say hi to the girl, and we're like walking by. It's in the auditorium where there's also like the kitchen.
Wait,
like
explain the girl.
The girl that I liked, that I had invited.
Yeah.
I go and I say hi to her, and we're like talking and walking by these doors that are closed into the kitchen, and she like pulls me in to the kitchen.
I knew you were gonna say that.
And she fucking kissed me.
Yo,
dude.
And bro, you think that you just like, oh wow, these are beautiful coincidences that are happening right now.
So yeah,
you don't think that like this is something catered specifically for fucking you?
No.
Oh man. Okay. All right.
But
there is no God.
It was just a fucking. It was just a fucking awesome moment. I just loved it. It was so.
You love things like that,
dude. I was having the best night
purely
of my fucking life. But what I was gonna
everything
say
is math.
My point with like the fear of it though is that night my brother was
frequencies made her.
My brother was like the biggest influence on me, like growing up, and he's why I love music. Yeah, he's my older brother by 10 years. And
damn, we were fucking similar.
Yeah.
With that shit, that's crazy. Yeah. And you also hung out with his friends and shit too.
I have no siblings. I'm a fucking like loner friends. In this world.
But hold on, so
Dan, shut the fuck up for a second. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I just got being too depressing.
Everyone else was saying really nice things, and my brother, the only thing he said through the whole night, like he congratulated me, but he didn't really say anything about the performance. And the only thing he said was, he was like, yeah, sometimes like it just got a little loud and like, I don't know, it was like a little much. That's what he said.
What?
That was the only thing he said about it the whole night.
And that's the
only thing I remembered. Yeah. That's the only thing that stuck with me forever, dude.
Yeah.
And I was like, fuck.
Well, we have a negativity bias for sure.
Yeah. Well, I mean, especially if the only feedback that you get, the whole thing was negative. There was no positive anything in that statement. It's like, why the fuck?
Well, right.
That's so mean for somebody to push that out on you.
Well, it's just your brother.
He's my brother, yeah.
I don't
get it, but
this is the thing, I don't get it because I don't have siblings.
Yeah, I guess, yeah.
Maybe. I don't know.
I mean,
23 and me.
He's just being a hard ass.
Stuff you've done like, yo, this is really
good. Now he's like, I mean, he's a big fan of mine. Like now he's very no.
I was gonna say if he's still saying
no, he wasn't jealous.
Like, dude, this guy.
It was just at the time. Like, I mean, I was in high school. I don't know. It was just
he was
our relationship
was you know?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I think it was. Definitely. Like, I get it.
Which is toxic, but like
yeah, I was about to say like, damn, like
it is toxic for sure.
But see, these are these generational curses.
But no, but he's very supportive now. I mean, he.
How do you think that you would be raising a child, JD? What would you do? What's your approach?
Probably just make him mojitos all fucking day.
Yeah. Just get him fucked up. He's like, hey,
take him to the
I like to get fucked up. You like to get fucked up. You're 6.
He's like 2 weeks old. He's like, top 3 albums. What are they?
Yeah. I'm like,
Dad, I've only been alive for 3 albums.
Little Einstein.
Listen to this album.
Greatest hits.
3 albums haven't even come out since I've been born.
Magic School Bus.
He's like, you didn't tell me you don't know about
fucking
like food, like life. Like,
you've never heard of Michael Jackson, you fucking idiot.
On the wall, like come on.
Fuck are you living under a rock? But what would you be like?
He's been living in my balls.
Well, no, for real. Like, how would you approach that,
dude? I don't know. I mean, I don't know. That's why I don't have kids. I would try to be as understanding as possible.
I'll tell you how I wouldn't approach it.
Yeah. I mean, I think it would always just be it's always the fight between protectiveness and like,
trust
and understanding or like trying or like love, you know what I mean?
Getting
like
him out into the world.
Part of you, yeah, exactly. Like part of you wants to just like, which is, deeply rooted in me is this part of me that would want to like listen to them and just like nurture their like curiosity for the world and these kinds of things instead of trying to like impose my thing.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just saying that's one side of it, but then the other side of it is also like, okay, there are moments where I need to put my foot down because I know some things you don't. Yeah. You know what I mean?
I feel like
navigating the sort of difference between those two can be the hard part.
Yes.
I feel like when you have kids, you figure it out for yourself.
Well,
you make mistakes and you learn.
Yeah,
right.
You just take
there is no
dads
real
have this unique role of like, you obviously like love your kid, but you obviously you need to make him a man. If it's a male, if it's a daughter, like then you have this completely different relationship. I
feel like
what do you mean by that though?
You need to make them independent, and you need to make them set for the world.
But that's not necessarily a man. I get what you're saying though.
It means not coddling them. It means like teaching them how to take care of themselves. And sometimes that
smack
can
them when they're
sound
being
like
fresh.
Yeah, exactly. And then sometimes that can it can be hard for somebody because it's like tough love in a way.
Yeah,
it's like
it is.
Obviously, like if you have a child, you want to do everything for them and you want to take care of them. But that's not really good for them. And I feel like a lot of times,
I think what a lot of
the fathers,
I feel like you just have to you have to think about what's going to get you the results that you want to get. Actually,
like making my kid.
Do you want to make a scared person? Do you want to make a power? Do you want to make somebody who cares about people? Do you want to what kind of person do you want to make? And
I think the hard part with that though is that the older they get, the less it becomes.
Oh, but then it's not about making them. It's not even fucking about making them at all. I think that you just have to let them be. Dude.
You have to let them discover themselves.
I feel like you have to totally let them do that. And
but you have to take care of them.
There needs to be guidance. There needs to be
guidance. It's support, but it's not punishment. Sometimes the punishment is the support.
Yeah,
but it's like,
listen, we're gonna do an experiment here. Send your kids into us 436
4 musicians and a baby.
Send the kids here.
It's like when you take care of the egg. And
everyone gets an egg.
Oh my god!
Everyone gets a kid.
We had a baby.
I didn't have that.
I never actually got that.
I missed the crying
thing.
Yeah.
Damn, and it like records that data.
It?
Yep.
I'm gonna ask one more thing, and then we should probably wrap this up.
Okay.
Yeah. Did you guys dissect things in high school?
No.
I refused.
I dissected.
I never had a class where that was.
I dissected a frog.
Nice.
A frog?
I don't think that was even a thing in my school.
It was a pig fetus,
and
I was like really excited to do it.
Did.
And then it was right there on the table, and I just was like, it was a baby pig fetus, and I was like, I can't do this.
Yeah,
I had to ask the teacher if I could walk out, and I was excited to do it.
Yeah,
I was excited to do it, and I did that shit, and I was like,
and I loved it.
Yeah.
I didn't love it. I mean, it's weird, but it's interesting.
Yeah,
it's interesting as hell. Yeah,
I would do it now.
Just like colonoscopies,
dude. Okay, all right, you guys, audience, everybody, think of yourself for what you really are, for this big bag of bones with flesh and nerves and everything, and you're just a fucking brain attached to a spinal cord.
Just a sack of water and electricity.
All these things. Think about your rib cage. Think about your hip bones and all the shit connected. Just think about what you fucking are.
Yeah.
And think about that you're experiencing something beautiful at the same time. What is this reality? Who are we? Why are we here? Is there even a why? Does it matter?
This is like coast
Do you
to
just
coast.
live your fucking life as a big old meat sack, just living out in the universe?
Somewhere in Minneapolis.
Yeah, exactly.
Are you in Minneapolis right now? But what if somebody in Minneapolis is listening to this right now and they're like, holy shit, they're talking to me. And yes, person from Minneapolis, we are talking to you.
Sorry.
I honestly think you should pan me and JD left and you.
No, we can't. This is not like a kickback where there's like 2 different people talking about 2 different
I think that people are going to hear exactly what they need to hear in that big old mess of fucking words that was right now. Somebody's freaking out right now because they're like, hey, person listening to this, if you're waiting for a sign, this is your sign. Go do that thing.
This has been episode 12, everybody.
Yeah.
We have Dan Durant. Dan, what's your Instagram? How can people find you, listen to your music?
At Dan_Durant on Instagram. Spotify is Dan Durant. Horizon is a great song to listen to that I have out right now. So go check that one out.
Hayes
is a great song.
Anything coming out or any shows coming up?
Yes, I have a series of things coming out over the summer. Music videos and songs, and that's eventually going to turn into the album. I plan to drop it on the fall equinox. If I can fucking do it, I'm in grind mode, get this shit done mode.
There we go.
For real this time. So
for real.
Well, thank you for coming in. Swoon, anything coming up?
I'm producing Andrea Shahayed's EP.
Sick.
Which should be out sometime this year, and then I'm doing my own solo one that I'm working on. That's probably early next year.
And that's at Swoon for you.
At Swoon like you.
Swoon like you.
On all platforms.
Sorry.
Swoon of you.
Yeah, that's the second channel.
Music is just Swoon.
Swoon. There we go. We have a show on June 13th.
Yes.
El Cid.
Yes.
Yeah, Andrea's playing that too.
Andrea's playing.
Ooh.
Well, hey, you're not supposed to say that, but
special guest.
Special redacted.
We cut that out.
Should we cut that out?
Nah.
Oh wait, for you because it matters for her, right?
I mean, I'll ask her.
Just reverse it. Reverse it. I mean, I guess it's pretty obvious.
It would be explicit. Anyway, thanks for tuning in.
I'm Maddie.
I'm Wyatt.
And can I borrow your goddamn amp?
No. Good night.
Ciao.
That's what she said.